All right, chat. Welcome in. Welcome in. Week 1 of the NFL. We finally made it to NFL Sunday. Of course, week 1 is already in the works at this point. Well, in the slate. We've got Penix driving late in the game here. We've got football to get to. But our guy Penix is about to hit the 300-yard mark for week 1. Hey, yo, I guess he's at 40 passes on the game. Make it 41. Oh, chat, the Atlanta safety. Is that Winfield on the breakup? Is he still upset about the PFF grade from the offseason, chat? Hey, yo! Was not favorable for him. I don't know, how deep with these guys are. Like, Paul's going to the stats, but regardless, making a good play at the end of the day is what you want to see. Great pass breakup on, I guess I don't know who the receiver is there, so the Falcons are still in scoring range. They're still in the opportunity to get the game-winning field goal here. And I guess at the end of the day, do we want Penix to get the stats or the wins? Maybe a little bit of both, chat. It is what it is. But he was one of the guys. Oh wait, they just docked him a yard on the Fox broadcast. He's back down to 298. Oh, the over/under, that matters. Another. Oh, chat. I feel like if the receiver had located that one, he might have got that. Another sort of pass up the sideline for him. Do we have to remind ourselves who the Atlanta offensive coordinator is? I guess we should. Well, I don't. I'm not going to scroll up and put the game on the screen because the ESPN is going to be ahead. It's going to spoil it. It is what it is. So all these early games, at this point, spoil the first quarter for us, chat. Hey, it is what it is. Cam Ward, I guess if it's a spoiler that he's good, then, he's the number 1 overall pick. So how much of a spoiler is that actually? But for the Falcons, there has been that vertical element up the sideline stuff that Penix was doing at Washington, that was a little bit effective there on that drive. It seemed like he was getting Pitts involved a little bit in this game, chat. I don't know if Pitts is back. We're going to have to look at the stats. But 44 yards is definitely manageable for sure. And this was definitely, I think, one of the more, primetime games of this early window for sure as well, too. Because I was thinking about, with the Colts playing the way they played earlier, chat. Hey, yo, there's not a lot of AFC teams that are at that sort of premier level playing earlier on. I think, the preseason hype of the Bengals, obviously, but we do have the Chiefs played Friday. They played the Chargers, so the Chargers are out of the mix as well, too, and they weren't necessarily as hyped up, but still, they could get there for sure. And Herbert as a quarterback and Harbaugh as a coach are in the mix. But you get those two teams out of the mix. We have Ravens-Bills playing later. We've got just in this late window as well, too, the Texans playing the Rams. The Texans are going to be, they've won the AFC South the last couple of years. You expect them to be that play. So a lot of those high-end AFC playoff teams we're not playing right now. And I guess, again, just the primetime teams are obviously going to be in those spots, especially earlier on in the season. But, oh, did he miss it, Chad? Coup? Oh, Chad, did he pull a coup on his own team? Chad, is that what we call it? Hey, yo, he misses the game-time field goal in week 1. Penix! Oh, Chad, can we put it in the stats that he made the drive? That he got his team down the field? Because there's not... We love Penix as well, too, because there's not a lot of guys that have that background of the great college sort of run. Had some good college moments, but didn't necessarily torch Michigan as well, too. It's a good balance, Chad. So, not to say that, it doesn't have to be disrespectful, but we just want to... we want to have some good memories with some of the guys in their college runs that weren't on our own team. So, it's like we would like to see Penix have success in the pros. It's not like, oh, wait a second, he already had a success against our team in college. But, yeah, he did his job there for sure. I guess we could go back and watch. Of course, we got the red zone on in the background. Hey, shout out Scott Hansen. If you hear his voice in the background, chat, he's not in studio. I guess it's just the mic picking it up. It is what it is. But Scott Hansen, call in. We'll see. But, yeah, of course, we could see throughout the course of the game what happened there. That game was competitive. And, I guess to go back to what I was saying, that was just the best equal matchup of the day going into the early window. The best game of the early window, I think, did end up being Jets versus Steelers. I think both those teams with 30-plus points going back and forth. It was the most action-packed for sure. Do we have the final scores down here? Yeah, 34-32 Steelers. And Purdy gets a touchdown in the first drive, or I guess not necessarily first drive. 3 minutes left in the first quarter. That one, I guess, was firing up early for the late window. But 6-0 for San Francisco early on. Another sort of establishing game early on. And we were kind of saying this or going into week one, we were kind of doing the full season prediction, schedule prediction type stuff, and how just the momentum that you build, the mindset that you can build, just, and I guess maybe it was just us picking these teams as well too, but how that you could project sets the tone for the way these teams go into the season. And because there was some conference matchups, divisional matchups as well too, and just in general, potentially important tiebreak stuff if we're just being, realistic about playoff scenarios as well too. But the again, the actual competitiveness of week one, I think it was actually a pretty fun day all the way around. And like we were saying, we still have some of the other teams in the mix from the earlier windows. But regardless, that Jets-Steelers game was definitely the most fun for the first game. And I don't know, again, like, what are the takeaways? It's going to be week one, so there's going to be overreactions. It's going to be, the long season. We're going to see how the stuff has to play out. But this did feel like a good barometer for both of these teams because, again, there's just a lot of talent still remaining. I know there's been some reshuffling. Literally, these teams reshuffling their quarterbacks. Rodgers from the Jets to the Steelers, Fields going vice versa. But the defenses still have talented pieces. There's still weapons in the mix where I know that maybe Fields is not going into the same perception spot that Rodgers was going into. We're like, oh, Rodgers is he going into the Jets, and that's going to be like a sleeper AFC Championship team. It's still the roster. We don't quite perceive the roster around him in the same type of way. But there's still pieces. Again, there's still pieces where it's like Rodgers could definitely be a playoff team if he steps it up and plays really well. And maybe we did see kind of the high-end version of what both these teams could be today as well, too. I guess the Steelers weren't even really able to run the ball, Rodgers, obviously with the 4 touchdowns, the 244, 22 for 30 was just really efficient all the way around. Again, he's 40 years old, so some of the pressure stuff is just going to be, it is what it is. I guess how athletic and mobile and quick on your feet are you supposed to be at 40. It is what it is, chat, but maybe Rodgers, you get quicker at other things at 40, I guess, but maybe not moving in the pocket is one of them. So there were times that it was like, okay, the really elite pass rush guys are going to, again, obviously Quinnen Williams is one of them for sure. I think the Jets can get there. But, maybe especially as the more schematic teams they maybe play in later in the season, and then just the teams with the deeper rotations and stuff maybe are even a little bit more lethal. And maybe with the more perimeter rushers as well too, compared to just the interior ones, if that makes a difference for how he's moving around out there. But he did look efficient and confident, and I don't know even what to think of the Jets' tenure as well too, because again, Fields looked good on the Jets, and the Jets actually seemed kind of fun, and Fields was actually like stepping up and making throws that, again, he's a first round pick. Like, are we shocked? I guess, but at this point, he's had a couple of years as well too. But I guess maybe us being more pro Fields is not so surprising that he's now taking steps forward, maybe a couple seasons later than a couple people were expecting. Hey, yo. But again, he was overall pretty smart. I'm trying to think, both of them did throw maybe a couple passes that were interception balls, but again, for the most part, it was a pretty great day overall for what you would expect for the hype-wise for both of these guys. And the run game looked good for New York as well, too. And Fields did, I guess, end up with 12 carries. So he was, I think, scrambling around a little bit later as well, too. 2 touchdowns on the ground, so 3 touchdowns overall. But earlier in the game, it was mostly that passing stuff that was being the most effective part of the offense for him. And there was a couple of times he was actually able to get the ball. Again, Garrett Wilson, 7 for 95. Actually able to get the ball downfield. So I know that Garrett Wilson probably had his good stats game with Rodgers. Ayo, the man has good stats game with Zach Wilson. Obviously he's a really great receiver. He can get there at the end of the day. He's been 1,000. Oh, the Mike Evans chat. Been 1,000 yards every year. Though with the 17th game, he's 17 games each of the last 2 years as well too. Who knows what that means. But because it's the Jets quarterback situation, we'll give him a break. He gets the extra game as a pass. So, yeah, the rookie season obviously had some pretty crazy performances for sure. Yeah, I guess, the last month of the year, maybe the yardage stuff didn't quite get there all the way. And there was some up and down stuff, so that kind of just maybe the November through the end of the year stretch, he really only did have the one, only two 60-plus yard games, but the 66 and then this one at 114 really jumps out. Again, 40-plus yards down for the next closest one over that stretch of the season. So, and you can see how it turned. I guess just in general, Chet, they got 2 wins early last year against Tennessee and New England, but then 2 wins over the next course of the season as well to the next 14 games. So 3-11. Wait, where was that third win? Oh, Miami in the last game. Okay, I don't know if we count that one, but we'll give it credit for him, Chat. He still would have been still 945 yards in that stretch. On pace for 1,100 in the 17-game season. But, we're, I guess, going for the loss stretch there. If we were going for the stretch with the yards where we said the production started to dip down. Okay, the last 8 games, he was 441 yards last year. On pace for about 937 over the 17-game season. So, a little bit off from where you'd want, Garrett Wilson, obviously. We have really high expectations for what he could be as a receiver in the league. But it did seem like, obviously you still had a couple of plays where it's like, let's get him as a creator, line of scrimmage, and then he's going to, just take off and run. And then a couple of times where, and shout out to Dobbs with the Guardian cap. Chat, have we seen a lot of Guardian caps in week 1? Maybe not. But shout out. Would it look kind of crazy? I feel like we would get used to it pretty quick if they all had it. And maybe we're going that way anyways. I mean, I'm not going to be the one sitting here complaining, no Guardian caps in the league. It's like, hey, player safety at the end of the day is obviously the most important. So if that's the move we have to make, then that's, at the end of the day, this is the move we got to make. It is what it is. But it is just like a little bit, distorted enough. There's just like a little bit of a Wii Sports factor to it. That is nice. And Jordan Love over the middle to Tucker Kraft, the tight end, for the first touchdown of the season. So they are favored in this game. They are at home. I think both these teams could go back and forth a little bit here. But I do expect the Lions to have a little bit of a, I'm buying up Lions stock, Chat. And I still think the coaching staff is, of course, it's a question mark. I was going to say it's a concerning thing, but it's not a concern yet because we don't really know if it's a concern. It's just a question mark. We just don't know. And maybe we have to give Dan Campbell more respect for being a top coach. But again, this is a proof of concept for him of being able to change over the staff because he was fortunate enough to have Ben Johnson there for a couple of seasons. Like, that guy could have gone to be a head coach just on the potential of him as an offensive coordinator as well. Teams are hiring up these offensive coordinators before it feels like they even become good offense. Like, okay, this guy might be a good offensive coordinator, so he's going to be hired as a head coach, so we'll probably just hire him now as our head coach and just get ahead of it. But he waited and actually played it out long enough to where it was like, okay, he's like the top head candidate job. He can basically have his pick of wherever he wants. And then, Peter Schrager was saying on Simmons Pod that he was like, oh, no, Chicago is the job. That's the place I want to go. I don't know if that's like a 75% believe it. I do think that the Caleb Williams buy-in is definitely there, and you still watch, obviously, the high-end stuff on tape at any point in his career is going to be crazy stuff. But it was a little bit of a interesting season last year, and I don't know. The Bears front office has been good and proactive as well, too, and there's a good balance in the roster. So, I mean, I see it. Big market, franchise team. You get to bring the whole city back, I guess, in a major way. And especially a franchise that's never really been defined by offense. So I don't know if that's good to go against the grain that type of way. Lean in, Chat. You're a defensive franchise. Get a good defensive. Maybe they should have hired Aaron Glenn. Who knows? Aaron Glenn is the Bears coach, has a good vibe of it. Aaron Glenn, is a culture guy. Like, he just would seem like there is, and I guess, is he going to be a Super Bowl winner? I feel like maybe do people feel like the high end of Ben Johnson as a coach? Is he going to be in conference championships, Super Bowls? Who knows? But it does feel like Aaron Glenn, it's like, okay, year 1, you could get to 7, year 2, you're at like 10 wins, year 3, you're, 12 wins, you're feeling really, a little bit of that Vrabel, and I don't know if it was a 3-year timeline like that at Tennessee, but, him and Tannehill, like, Fields could be a little Tannehill-esque, a little later in the career, kind of becomes a above-average starter, and I think last year, and again, I guess go to the Rodgers thing, the Pittsburgh thing was weird as well, too. You have both those guys kind of vying back and forth, and stylistically, I guess both those guys would be Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. But stylistically, both those guys are kind of different as well, too. So in some ways that makes sense. Oh, and Stingley goes down with the injury, chat. Hey, yo, they kept showing the replay, and it was Devonta Adams getting hit pretty good there. And I was like, okay, it wasn't. They had the injury alert, and it wasn't registering that it was actually Stingley that was the one that got hurt. I was just like, okay, it's definitely Devonta Adams that got hurt in that play. But no, unfortunately, it was. I guess unfortunately for Texans fans, it was their corner going down, their star defensive player. But Darnold 3 for 3 early in the game, so a good patient drive there by the Niners in the first quarter. Hey yo, but and I guess we could look and see who was Arthur Smith there last year for the Steelers, because Morris was there a little bit last year for Atlanta. Here, wait a second, let's look, Chad. Is this important? The Arthur Smith timeline, but I don't know if Arthur Smith is. I like Arthur Smith as an offensive coordinator for sure. I would not be upset if he was off. So he was the OC there the last couple of years. Yeah, it is what it is. Number one, chat. Hey, yo, is Pro Football Reference updating quickly? Shout out. This is how you know we're deep in the weeds looking up at the stats, because it's like, oh, remember the days when you had to wait for Monday morning for it to load. Okay, I guess maybe not quite. But, I guess it's probably just everybody's just going to be listed at number one for this year. If we go into it, they might just have the season listed there early. But, with the way they performed as well, too, again, I guess I wouldn't be shocked. 244, I guess I don't know if it was the biggest yards day today. But, again, just the most impressive total scoring, entertaining game factor as well, too. But you have both these teams at least finding certainty with the quarterback position, and I guess Rodgers was a certain thing last year, but maybe it's just the timeline of the Packers quarterbacks, because we all know that he's basically followed in the Favre footsteps up until Favre went to Minnesota after the Jets and Rodgers went to Green Bay. But it does, Favre found success when he was in Minnesota, and that team around him was a good mix, and it was on the doorstep of being in the Super Bowl, right? I guess that season's a little traumatic for us as Colts fans, obviously. So there's there's a little bit of an erasing factor going on. We don't remember everything that happened that year, but I get that Favre team was kind of fun. Peterson was obviously a guy that was always super fun to watch, but Sidney Rice as a receiver that year too was really fun. And they had that. There was it a Madden moment? Is that what they used to call them, chat? Madden moments? I forget. There was. I guess we have to go back and dig up the old Maddens, but there was where you could play like the memorable moments for the season and try to recreate them. And it was like Vikings down, whatever, needing a touchdown 35 yards out. Favre hit Sidney Rice in the back of the end zone, and you had to try to like recreate this play. And I guess, make no mistake, we were just, I guess, again, shout out, big fans of Sidney Rice back in the day. 2009 Pro Bowler, 1,300 yards, 8 touchdowns. But we definitely did that. Recreated that play a couple times. But I guess what was the kind of the season for Favre this year? Oh, an overall efficient season as well for him too. He led the league in interception percentage in a good way, the lowest interception percentage in the year. The Justin Herbert, but he did have more yards and more touchdowns. Herbert this past season, 2024, of course. But it looks like this year, maybe on pace for more yards and touchdowns. I don't know if we have to look into the reasons why, Chad. But his efficiency last year was really good. 4th in MVP voting. Yeah, Favre was 40 as well, too. So Rodgers may be a year ahead of him on the timeline. I'm not sure. 2 game-winning comebacks that year, 2 game-winning drives for Brett Favre in that season as well, too. Travarius Jackson is the backup. We did have some Travarius Jackson stock as well, too, but didn't work out. There's some fun quarterbacks at that time, Chet. Travarius Jackson, Seneca Wallace. Speaking of Seattle, some Seneca Wallace stock from, I feel like he was this range for sure, but he was, maybe a couple of good games back then. And then I guess 2010, 5-8, not quite able to recapture the magic of that season. So we'll see. I guess, Steelers fans really, of course, I don't think, they're maybe hoping that they get a little bit more proactive in the draft. They could have definitely taken a quarterback this past year and had him sit behind Rodgers if need be. And if Rodgers plays like this, it's like, okay, we're in a good spot to have a veteran guy and then hand over the reins in the next season and be able to build the team in the first round in a different way, acquiring talent in a different spot. So Rodgers game 1 against Cleveland, they did score 34, chatter. We going to see the Bleacher Report graphics. Rodgers in his first game post-Jets, 34 points. Brett Favre in his first game post-Jets, 34 points. Hey, yo, chatter. Rodgers again, more stats. 110 for Brett Favre, 14 of 21, 110 yards, and a touchdown in that game. And then 155 and 2 touchdowns, 23-27 in the next game against Detroit. And then it was week 3 against San Francisco. He was 3 of 1, 301 yards and 2 touchdowns. And you can see the stats really started to pick up after that. So if you take out those first 2 games, he would have been, and I guess if you give him the extra game for the 17-game season, he would have been on a 4,700-yard pace that year, the 2025 version. But wait, how many yards per game was he in those last 14 games? Where is it at here? 288. And yeah, 2 touchdowns and basically a pick every other game. Is again, that's not bad for a good quarterback for sure, but for a 40-year-old as well too. Maybe because there may be some arm stuff as well too. Sometimes maybe pushing it down the field, like we're saying, mobility. A time where it's just like he's going backwards in the pocket. And he's like, no, I'm not 40. I can get that pass out there. And it's like, no, you can't. It's like, oh, it's gonna be an interception. It is what it is. But again, Rodgers doesn't even need, I guess, the week 3 rate. So we'll see when the 110-yard performance happens for Aaron Rodgers. Is it next week? What does the schedule look like for Pittsburgh? But again, the ability for him to hit some of the check down stuff too was kind of effective. I know, we were making fun of it in the offseason, some of the highlights of the training camps we were seeing of him just checking down to DK Metcalf all the time. And it was like, oh, is this going to be good for Metcalf in fantasy if he's just getting some of these easy receptions and stuff too? But he was able to be a good safety blanket option there and able to create as well too after the catch, because he's kind of been, a little bit like, oh, the speed is the main thing, and you kind of want him to run down the field as well too. But again, as that speed receiver, you kind of have him running over the middle of the field, easier route. Some of the other receivers are of course clearing out space, and then if it's there and he can create after the catch, you're going to get pretty good results as well too. So of course Jaylen Warren taking over the starting spot is going to be a thing that some people were definitely excited for in the fantasy circles as well. We were always maybe a little pro Najee Harris, so it was a little bummer that of course Jaylen Warren was of course taken away from some of his stats. Bo Nix across the field, oh chat, he throws it right into the safety. You could see the receiver. It was definitely a good pass to the receiver, like anticipatory throw. The receiver was running right into that spot, but unfortunately there was a safety standing there. It is what it is. Sutton, and it's Sutton as well too. Your jump ball, giving him a chance to make a play, but great play by McCreary, bringing that in. I guess maybe he might be a corner. Is he that Auburn corner? Did Scott Hansen say safety? Is that what we said, safety? I don't know, but Cam Ward in Denver, week 1, that line was 8.5, chat, and I'm not gonna lie, I was looking at that going, that's a crazy line. I feel like, we really trust, Denver to be overall for the season a pretty good team. Peyton in that offense is gonna definitely get this figured out. But one of the things that our neighbor was pointing out to us as well too, hey, yo, shout out, Mr. Bill. But he was saying that, Sean Payton's September record is not necessarily the hottest record here. Let's see if we can look it up, because they should have the splits on here, and maybe it's a more recent thing. I don't know if we have to sort it that way. Wait a second, chat. What was this nickname for Brett Favre? Buckhead Brett? Hey, yo, did they put this on after some of the scandal stuff, chat? Hey, yo, do we have to put this on Steve Ballmer's page now too, chat? Buckhead Ballmer? I don't know. But wait a second. What page were we on there for a second? We were going to Sean Payton's page. Trying to find the splits for pause for September. What's Sean Payton's September winning percentage? Do we have to ask the Chat GPT? Can it sort it out? I feel like it would have. It should have that, chat. Wins by month. I don't know. How many stats can a coach have outside of just some of the basic team stats as well too? But that'd be a good one to have in the mix for sure. So unproven, chat, but we're going to go with it. We're going to take his word for it. Sean Payton's not good in September. I guess maybe we can Google it here and see what we've got for the results. If it is something that exists, chat. Oh, here we go. He's 500. 29 and 28 in September of New Orleans head coach. I guess I don't know how recent this is. Let's see if we were missing the stats here, Chad. It was probably just right in front of our face. We weren't paying attention to it, or chat, or the internet AI is just pulling results from somewhere else. And again, we don't know if this is right, chat, but we're gonna go with it again. 29 for 28. Sean Payton's 500 in September. So again, it's early in the game. It's 3-3, but regardless, it may take the Broncos a second to get rolling this year. Just a couple of games, so we will have to see what happens there. But again, them going in and winning by a touchdown plus as well too against Titans, who do still have a really good roster, good defense. You could still see them playing to the pace of the Broncos, maybe a little bit of a slower game. I think as well too, as we expect the Broncos to be a really good team and take that step forward, is there that expectation that their offense becomes maybe a little bit of a dynamic offense as well too? And not to say that again, it couldn't be a really good stats offense. Bo Nix couldn't have a really good year. Ooh, Stroud, is he a little bit off on that throw, or was Chubb just a little bit slow on that route, Chad? It's hard to tell which one. Well, maybe as Stroud dials it in over the year, he'll figure it out. But you know, he's always so good with the anticipation stuff. You assume is Chubb just lagging behind a little bit. Hey, yo, shout out to our guy, of course. Well, a great career, Chad. Great seasons. One of the best running backs in the league at the peak of his powers. One of the most consistent. You could always rely on him to just go out there and get 80 to 110 yards a game, maybe even more if he rips off a couple of big plays as well, too. And the receiving element was definitely underrated. Oh, and they're reminding us on the bottom headline ticker situation that for just the headlines in general, that the Worthy injury was officially diagnosed as dislocated shoulder. They didn't give a timeline for return, but they said he was going to return with some kind of brace. So is that next week he's going to be playing with the brace on? They just pop it back in and he's good to go, chat? Hey, yo, maybe. But you still maybe take the week. I forget, do they have, is it Philly next week or Baltimore or one of the tough games next week? The schedule, of course, is not necessarily easy. But there is a couple games in there, and maybe just early on as well too. You just go, okay, we'll just give Worthy the week off. So Jordan Love with the little jump ball to Dobbs, and maybe the Guardian cap is good. It does not gonna, like, I guess, physically increase the target area, but you know, kind of helps the quarterback locate the receiver a little bit more. You kind of increase the helmet size. You can kind of see it against the Lions as well too. You know, very distinct helmets. It is. Maybe helps it stand out a little bit more. You know, the Rams are in the double box right now, and they just went into the Rams game in the full screen there. But they have, of course, the big yellow horn on the side of the helmet, so maybe that could be a little confusing. Quick glance, who knows? You just kind of see some yellow paint on the helmet down there. But, oh, Stroud takes a tumble on the handoff, Chad. Hopefully he's okay. Hopefully it's just Turf Monster got him there. But is that Texans offense with a little bit of a slow start? But I guess we expect Tom to go to the Steelers-Jets anyways. I guess we expect Tomlin to be 500 this year, so he's going to, you know, an early win is definitely good. And maybe this is the Justin Field experience as well, too, at the end of the day. Maybe the Jets are a 5-6 win team, who knows? But, again, this was a fun game to watch, and I think that maybe is a win for Jets fans. Can the Jets fans be a fun team? Because again, the expectations of the Rodgers team, especially that first year and the way that went, I don't know if we can bring that up. You know, again, I don't know if we're more Rodgers neutral. I guess maybe you have to take a stance on Rodgers these days. But, you know, it's like, hey, man's quarterback, I guess. We're just going to do our own thing over here. But, you know, the way that went, it's like, that's just so unfortunate that, you know, you kind of feel bad for anybody in that situation. But the expectations, again, were for them to be a little bit more of a contending team as well, too. So I guess here, Rodgers was only on the Jets for 2 years, so we're not going to necessarily get a history of the Jets. So, yeah, 5-12. Maybe they're not even winning more games, and I guess maybe did they win a couple of games at the end of last year? For sure. I don't remember. But 10-6 in 2015 it's been a decade since they've won 10 games. Do they break the decade-long streak of 10 wins this year? I don't know, but 5-5, 4-7, 2-4, 7-7-5 is crazy, chat. Hey, yo, I mean, that is pretty desperate, because you would think, you know, going back to 2015, The Panthers, Chad. Ayo, you still have Cam Newton maybe there for that year, a couple more years after that. So I know it hasn't been great post Cam Newton, but the Browns have, been a playoff-ish team the last couple of years as well too. The Jags have had some moments of, at least some draft success. Like the consistent 4-7 is brutal because again, you're not that's like that Orlando Magic period where it's like, oh, they're just going to be 6 in the draft every year and just be right outside the range of nailing peak guys. And ultimately what happened? Oh, Chad, speaking of the Panthers, is that Bryce Young or is Andy Dalton in the game right now? I think it was Bryce Young. Hey, there's a flag on the play, but I think it's going to be on the return of the interception, not the post, not before the interception. I think it's still going to stand. But, the Magic franchise turned around once they officially, of course, got the number 1 pick and they got Palo. So I guess, is there a way that they get Palo at, if they got Chet at 3, who knows? But, I think Palo as a franchise guy, maybe a little bit more of a step up than Chet. Did Chet necessarily lead the Thunder to the title? Who knows? But yeah, see, Chet, look at that. The Jets are also number 1 in all the offensive stats as well, too. So I guess, again, that was the high-powered game. But regardless, I think we solved the issue there of the stats problem. But just enough wins to crush your hopes in the draft and not necessarily be an interesting team. And I guess, even if we go quarterbacks as well, too, this is pretty disastrous. Even the 10-win team is, I guess Fitzpatrick is pretty fun, chat. Like, that's a kind of a, there's going to be some wild plays in and out throughout the course of a game. Smith. Oh, Gino. Ayo, shout out to our guy Gino. Sanchez, of course, with some early playoff success there. And you even go, I guess we're just giving him a lot of credit for that 1 10-win season. But, of course, take that one out. You have the 4 seasons before that, 8-6, 8-4. So Jets fans don't need necessarily reminded of this necessarily. But it is, tough to see. Again, just that level of low-end mediocrity, chat. Hey, yo, I don't want to say it, but it is what it is. We at some point, obviously, and Jets fans been calling them out, but, at some point, the other fans got to be like, hey, the Jets are bad. And I guess they're doing that as well, too. But maybe it's when nice guys like me were like, we'll focus on the good things. I guess once Peter Schrager starts talking bad about the Jets, then that's when it gets bad. But again, Aaron Glenn there this year, the vibes are at least going to be fun. So if they're a fun 6-win team, I don't know, are Jets fans in on that? Because it's been so, for us, that's more the Jets just on TV are a fun team to watch now. Because I guess the Rodgers part of that experience was because of the hype and because they're a New York team and because there's a little bit of a market there, they got some of those big market games. So today, they were, I think, sort of the primetime game for that early CBS slot as well. But again, that's just a different time. That's not necessarily prime time. Hey, yo. Oh, Chad, did the interception get overturned? Oh, okay. Here we go. I just saw Chua Hubbard running in the end zone. Bryce Young's back, people. Let's go. Panthers got 10 points. Make it a 13-point game. Hey, yo, it's like the Chris Paul cut it to 40 or whatever that play was as well, too. But shout out, a little momentum at the end of the game is not bad. Maybe it takes him a week to get rolling as well, too. What's Dave Canales' September record as a head coach? Bryce Young's September record as a quarterback? He's a late-season quarterback. We all know that for sure. But maybe the Jets fans are so desperate for just that trajectory toward a championship that maybe just the trajectory toward fun is off the table as well. Because I guess the Colts could be a little bit in that scenario. I guess we have been a little bit better than the Jets over the last couple of years. I don't know if, again, the team overall has been closer to Super Bowls necessarily. But, I guess, again, we kind of have. But I guess the last couple of, 8, 9 wins, are we getting a little cranky? 9, 4, 9, and 8. Again, we had, Luck and Rivers, was an 11-win quarterback that year. So that was a good team. It was a competitive playoff game as well, too. But that was a handful of seasons ago. Now at this point, the Jeff Saturday experiment, shout out to Saturday. We'll see if he returns. He's not going to return if Steichen keeps coaching like this, Chad. Hey, yo. But and maybe the thing about Jets fans, I guess Colts fans, NFL fans alike, is we'll have to continue to see what the quarterback class looks like in the draft. And I guess maybe this year is a perfect year to say, hey, don't underrate, or just, wait and see as well, too, because there may be at least a guy. Of course, Cam Ward in this year's draft does seem like he is going to be at least a really good starter. Of course, we'll see the ultimate levels that he ends up hitting as well. but it does seem like he is, of course, going to get to the, again, chat, testing, 1, 2, 3. Oh, wait a second, okay. It really, at least have a productive rookie season trajectory is going to be going up for him as a franchise guy. Shador was the emergency QB today for the Browns, so I don't, we'll have to maybe wait and see a little bit on that one. And Jackson Dart, we all are waiting on that. That one we might not have to wait and see. That one we may be seeing pretty soon. I guess, again, just stay tuned to the Giants season. But because there have at least been some productive, and to go back to even the Kenny Pickett draft, again, even Brock Purdy out of that class was really good, is turned into a really good option as well, too, as a franchise quarterback. So I know just because I might not be as high on some of the guys right now doesn't necessarily mean, again, that there isn't going to be some talent in the quarterback class going into the draft this year, but it doesn't seem like the most, and again, I don't know if that's just like, are we having to come to terms with Arch Manning, the Arch Manning hype of it all? Hey, yo, Chad. But it is a little bit different when it kind of falls into place and you have a lead guy, at least from a hype standpoint. You have a lead guy from a hype standpoint, and then everybody can kind of, fall in after that. Oh, Chad, what happened to Puka? Oh, no, they had to kind of take him off the field with like a towel on the side of his head. Was that like a vicious hit or something? I don't know if this is going to be stitches or what's going to be going on there, Chad, but some guys going down early in the week 1 is definitely not going to be the part of the early season that you want to see as well. But again, and I think Steelers fans are in a little bit of a different spot. I think they kind of they would just kind of like to be back in the playoffs and be fight. I guess they were in the playoffs last year. Were they? But be feisty as well too. Do they just want to maintain the Tomlin record and be above 500 and just keep that going for as long as possible? That might honestly be top on the priority list at this point. But the Jets fans might be back to fun. If Fields is playing with that amount of confidence and that amount of, the accuracy was there. He was, again, stepping up and hitting guys and hitting winners. And that Steelers defense, again, is a good defense. That secondary was flying. There were some injuries there. Like Porter went out of that game, and I guess, we'll see if that's the strongest matchup that they play over the course of the season and how some of these units rank out. But it did seem like he was, even taking a step forward from where he was at last year. And you still had Ramsey was out there making plays in the secondary, even the last play of the game, breaking up the pass. He didn't look really good, Chad. He looked even a little, I guess, sometimes it's like, do the Deebo Samuel storylines, do you want all your guys to go into the offseason and look a little bit thicker, Chad? I don't know. But he did seem like he had like a good strength to him as well too. Chat, what's going on with the mic? I feel like we're a little quiet right now. Testing. Let's see. Can we turn the volume up here? Is the mic plugged in? It says it's plugged in, but I don't know. Okay, we're getting a little louder. I think we're good to go. I don't know. Technical difficulties. Technical weirdness? We'll have to see. What IT, get on this. See what's going on here. But yeah, I guess we should mention as well, too, Lions, Packers. Well, we did mention we had Dobbs and stuff in the background. It is 10-0 as the first quarter winds down. Montgomery gets the handoff. IT, also check the bet slip. Did we place any bets on Jahmyr Gibbs? Hey, sorry to the Lions fans. It is what it is. I think maybe the Broncos fans are going to get a little upset. But we may have to double-check again and just see what some of our options are. Maybe it's the mic cable, Chad. It honestly might be. The cord post-travel. It's getting a little touchy. Hey, yo, who knows? Pause. But, Montgomery having a good game so far, 77 yards. No, 777 yards last year. But he is still getting a little bit of usage on this drive as well, too. So I know the Gibbs thing from a fantasy standpoint looked pretty sure. The McCaffrey thing, I know he was getting drafted highly again. I don't know if that thing looks sure. But, again, it was another highly drafted receiver. But Bijan seemed to be one of the ones that definitely produced at that top level for where he was drafted for week 1. So, and again, that game was one of the most fun. That's the one we were fired up watching here when we got on. So, and Penix, I don't know if he ended up crossing the 300-yard mark for the passing day. We'll have to look at a leaders board. He might still be up there as well, too. got the passing touchdown. Was that to... Oh, that was to Bijan. So Bijan did most of his yardage damage actually through the air as well, too. 6 for 100. And, yeah, only 12 for 24 on the ground. But at least from a fantasy standpoint, managed to keep the production up as well, too. So, yeah, can we get, like, a early performance... Oh, wait a second. NBA stats? Do we have those yet, chat? Oh, we wish. We wish. It's week 1 NFL. We got to enjoy it, chat. We can't get, looking at the NBA season quite yet. It is what it is. We got time off to reset. We can't reset, chat. When you're a degenerate NBA fan, you just, I guess, gotta, keep looking at the NBA. It is what it is. But, Herbert did get to 318, and it's just got the guys on here from the games this past week. Do we have to go to, like, a fantasy leaderboard? Yeah, we might have to, chat. Let's see. Fantasy football. Who are the top guys? Oh, am I gonna have to log in? Hey, yo. It is what it is. You think the instant stat leaderboard would be a little bit easier to try to find than just having to... I guess we were thinking Pro Football Reference was going to be updating, but apparently not, chat. Is the NFL.com going to clutch it out? I guess... Is ESPN in charge of NFL? I don't even know what the ESPN NFL thing relationship is anymore, too, because I was thinking before today's game, I was like, wait, do I have to double check and make sure that, we got the red zone in the right way, like, properly, pause, like, do we have red zone properly through all the apps? Like, now it's an ESPN, I thought it was an ESPN thing, like, is it going to be on ESPN Plus, or do we have to have, be logged in with the sling, or how's this going to work? Is it still going to be on NFL? And I guess they were talking about commercials as well, too, but then it's like one 7-second commercial every hour. Like, yes, okay, I guess it's the start of something. We know where it's gonna go, but at least for now it's maintained. So I don't know if it's not for now. Maybe we'll just not say too much, but you would think that, again, just having the live stats would not be too crazy. Next gen, the tracking, we'll give them time, chat. It is what it is. No, nobody's ready, chat. Nobody's strapped up. IT, get the stat leaderboard up and ready to go. We'll get a Sam live tracker for people to actually look at. But I guess, again, everybody just look at their fantasy teams as well, too. So that's definitely the easiest way to do it. And if we just keep watching, I guess they will probably scroll the leaderboard at some point. But, yeah, to go back to Falcons versus Bucks real quick. Bucks, of course, did end up getting the win. Baker, maybe, like we were saying in the offseason, the chaoticness of the Baker experience there, it is expected a little bit. So you can't necessarily be too surprised when you're like, okay, it was a roller coaster game and and Tampa ended up winning anyways. Yeah, 17 for 32, 167, but 3 touchdowns and 0 picks. Was there a couple of interception balls in there? I don't even know. Led the team in rushing as well, too. 39 rush yards. Not crazy, but still the most on the team. Bucky Irving, 14 for 37, trying to take over that RB1 spot. The Atlanta defensive line did look pretty feisty, and they were, I guess Baker only got the 1 sack for 8 yards, but there was a little bit of pressure. Some scoring later in the game, definitely on some of those last drives. And I guess the second quarter, Tampa did get a couple of scores there. But again, for the most part, it was competitive and sort of evenly matched, more so than both teams going, or Tampa specifically going super crazy. Ibuka looked really good down the field. He had 2 of the touchdowns. Baker finding him for the long range strikes was good. Mike Evans with 50 yards, I think, still kind of puts him in the... he just needs to be, close enough in the last couple of weeks, and then they can stat pad him and get him into the 1,000-yard range. But Jerry Rice is, I think, the guy that has the record right now. So if he doesn't break Jerry Rice's record, I guess, hey, yo, is it a bummer if Jerry Rice still has the record? But Sterling Shepard with a couple of nice plays as well, too. I didn't even know if he was still around. But, yeah, we actually seen him now being productive. So we'll see. Third receiver, if he is able to, maybe stay around the whole season. Yeah, we'll have to see. But I guess Bucky Irving did get into the end zone as well, too, with the shorter reception. So, again, they were a little bit more of a chaotic game. Not necessarily the greatest box score game for Tampa. but there was a talent thing, and kind of both these teams you could see. In Tampa, again, because they're a little bit more veteran, they've been in the playoffs the last couple of years, like there is a little bit more proof of concept with them. Oh yeah, Puka did get lit up, Chad. Hey, yo. He got a pretty good, looked like a UFC fight situation there. And I guess concussion evaluation, of course, is going to follow. So, unfortunately for all the guys we were saying we liked in fantasy at the receiver spot, A.J. Brown had a bad week. Puka Nakua's out with a concussion. So, it is what it is, Chad. We're going to score, with the hypothetical peak lineup, like 45 points. It is what it is. So, I guess fantasy is crazy in random. Jameson Williams, around the end, it looked like they maybe had him stop there for a loss, but the speed is too much, can't be contained. So is this going to have to be like unleash the speedster down 10-0 and see if we can create some game-changing plays? But again, there is a little bit more proof of concept for Tampa being good, so Atlanta going toe-to-toe with them is definitely encouraging for them in the year. And again, they definitely did their part. Like, you go down missing a field goal at the end, and it's tough. I guess Tampa did miss the extra point, right, to at least give them a shot to get the missed field goal, so they would have needed a touchdown at that point. So again, it just depends on which scenario do you want to say is the actual real game-changing whatever scenario. But regardless, they were right there at the end of the day with them. And they said they did sweep them last year in the series. Atlanta got Tampa twice. So is there just a weird, Tampa might just be due for a win against these versions of a team as well too, just kind of early in the season, even though it's not the same type of carryover. But I think Tampa did, the talent was obvious for sure. And both these teams, again, are we going to see NFC contenders from these teams? Like the way that Philly played and the way that it seems like they have all the pieces in place to still, again, be a high-level team, but execute at the end of games as well too, is definitely going to be tough to win against. I mean, even the Packers and the Lions, I know the Lions are down 10-0 right now, but you still bet on the talent, and they are driving. You can see the offense starting to put things together on this drive. And their offensive coordinator, of course, is taking over for, like we were saying, one of the best play callers in the league. So him finding his rhythm is going to be interesting. But I think it's going to be maybe even a little bit of the balance of him kind of relying on Goff as well, too, because Goff is that veteran. Goff has played with enough good coaches where there should be a little bit of a carryover effect with some of the IQ stuff for sure. But is he 7 for 7 in the game in general? Hey, yo, chat. Only 34 yards to start. Maybe a little safe. But he is definitely, again, getting it there with the accuracy. But he has worked with enough of these high-level offensive mind that, again, there should be enough concepts that he's aware of and his ability to kind of figure out some of this stuff that, again, I don't know, is Jared Goff going to be the pseudo-offensive coordinator for this team for the next 4 years? But, is he going to be like the Peyton Manning of this team? But he can, I think, make stuff work if this team is definitely going to try to make it. Or I guess maybe he should be able to make stuff work at this stage in his career with maybe what we expect of Jared Goff as well, too, a little bit. With the talent that they have, it should be something that is still a really competitive team. So I guess, again, to go to Atlanta and Tampa, there is maybe a little bit of a tier that we'll just have to see if they can break into for the NFC. But they definitely prove that they're probably going to be, definitely. And I mean, we saw what the rest of the NFC South looked like as well, too. So, unfortunately, for the other two teams, they're probably not going to be competing for a division title this year early on. I mean, the Saints might be competitive in NFC South games and just be a feisty team to play against. Who knows? They did definitely seem like again, a little bit of a tougher out for Arizona. So it's a little bit more about Arizona. But these are definitely the two, of course, like we were saying, best teams going into the NFC South. Penix looked like the absolute starter guy for sure. And if the run game for them is the weakness, then I think that that's not too bad because Bijan, of course, is definitely that high-level guy that can be the, 1,200-yard, 1,500-yard rusher at some point through the season as well, too. So we were impressed by Atlanta. 0-for-1 divisional loss is definitely a tougher way to start. But they're going to be, I think, fine and have a good shot at making the playoffs. And again, the NFC South thing definitely helps. But that even, they're going to get 4 games against Panthers Saints. So their opportunity to maybe have some wins to help them get a wild card spot as well, too, and for Tampa, is maybe a little bit increased for some of these other teams where, Lions, Vikings, Bears, Packers all are going to be playing against each other and probably splitting wins, and, maybe the records take a little bit of a hit because of that as well, too. Maybe a little bit more consistent week to week, obviously, against some of the other teams. But Baker and Tampa did seem like, of course, still a playoff level team. And Penix and the Falcons did seem like they're going to be a fun regular season team as well, too, to keep an eye on for sure. So the other game that was really close down to the wire as well was this Bengals-Browns game. And I got to say, the Browns, of course, I guess the Browns fans are going to talk about the missed field goals, and that, of course, is a scoring difference in the game that could have led them to win as well as just, of course, changing the situation of football that they're having. The Titans are first and goal inside the 5 right now. Second and goal, third and goal now. That play they ran before was third and goal. But still, I guess in a goal-to-go situation was the thing that I meant to point out there. But again, I don't even know what really Joe Burrow did in this game. The offensive line for the Bengals is definitely going to be, as I guess always, going to be a concern. The concerns for the Bengals are still the concerns. It is what it is. But I really thought that this Bengals offense was going to be just one of the most trusted units. And I know we can find ways to rank anything and break it down into however many groups that you want to rank. Make no mistake, in the offseason, we'll rank everything here on the REMINGTOM pod chat. It is what it is. Oh, Cam Ward takes the tough sack on third and goal. Still in field goal range. Benito? Oh, chat, we could have bet Benito for a sack. It is what it is. Week 1, I was like, do we bet everybody we think is going to get a sack to get a sack? I don't know. I'm trying to remember. We may have taken all the defensive guys out of the week 1, maybe the week, just because the energy is going to be there as well, too. Some of the matchups, the odds, got to figure some of that stuff out. Benito, we should have done, chat. It is what it is. It was going to happen against the Titans. The rookie quarterback was going to... That was the thing as well, too, we should have. The rookie quarterback was just probably going to get sacked more so than even Benito having to, a second and a half to get to the quarterback, swim around, and make a play in that type of way. Obviously, he's totally capable of it. But there is going to be that young quarterback element that probably affects it as well, too. So, do we have to look at this real quick, chat? I mean, yeah, we really love Cam Ward this year. And I know, shout out the cousin Sal. Was he saying that he wanted Cam Ward to lead the league in interceptions? That seemed a little crazy. I think that there would be, maybe a safety element to happen with the Titans if Cam Ward was getting a little turnover heavy as well, too. But also, I just think he may be a little better than that. But the sack thing could be a problem. Again, would he lead the league in sacks? Maybe. But just against some of the high-level guys. So, verse next week, you got Buckner in week 3 against the Colts. Will Anderson week 4 against the Texans. So, maybe like verse week 2 against Cam Ward, we have to do a little verse bet for a sack. Try to put him in a parlay somewhere. But, Flacco threw 45 passes today. They didn't really have much of a run game, as you see. Of course, Dylan Sampson, 12 carries for 29 yards. He was juking around a little bit. Yeah, 8 receptions for 64. So a little like Bijan had through the air effect as well. The Arthur Smith FedEx effect, chat. The running backs were there. But of course, ability through the ground was not necessarily there. But Flacco is just still a pro, chat, and can just still make good decisions. And he had the 2 picks, but I feel like both of them were batted passes as well, too. So I don't know if we go back and maybe the window wasn't quite there in the right way, and it was a little bit of a tough decision by Flacco. But that last one especially was a little bit crazier with the way the receiver kind of spun around and almost threw the ball back up in the air. And then the defender kind of spun back over him and caught the ball. And just maybe one of the crazier highlight plays from week 1 in general. But he definitely outplayed Burrow. And again, I think the offensive line to defensive line competitiveness both ways is definitely a matchup thing to look at. And, for the Bengals specifically, I guess for the Browns as well, too, if Flacco can be productive like that, it does make them obviously interesting as it has every year, because the total talent on defense has always been over the last couple of years, has been something that we've looked at to say, hey, of course, if they have a quarterback, there is a roster thing here that is maybe a competitive roster. I think that has definitely slipped a little bit to the point where we're like, oh man, even if a rookie is in here at this point, I don't know what there is to work with. But Flacco was still making it work with the receivers. The running back was getting production. Judy 5 for 66. The tight end 7 for 63, and then Tillman as well too looked really good, 5 for 52. So Njoku 3 for 37 is a guy that we all like as well too, and maybe Fannin start to take away some stuff from him from a fantasy standpoint. He had 9 targets. He led the game in targets as well. But yeah, he was still able to find the right guys at the times to make it look like, hey, at least the receiving core is serviceable for Cleveland. And just the fact that you have Myles Garrett on defense, again, the Bengals might be a favorable matchup for that, but also he just went out and destroyed like an entire possession late in that game, and there was like 3 plays in a row where he basically had a sack or a pressure that led to a sack. And again, in a close game, if Flacco is keeping it close and then Myles Garrett's just going to go out there and wreck the game against any kind of offensive line that's not going to be able to keep up, then that is a real fourth quarter formula, of course, that can win. Having Myles Garrett to rush the passer turns out really works. But Flacco leading the offense, of course, he just continues to be that pro-level guy there as well, too. So they're another one. Maybe they are a little bit more desperate for a QB than, I don't know if they're more desperate than the Jets. But I don't know. Maybe for some reason, Nussmeier on the Browns is not as, I don't know. Nussmeier on the Jets just doesn't have, I'm not quite bought in on that idea yet. I think we'll have to see, of course, how we're thinking about Nussmeier overall, just as a QB prospect. I mean, he's definitely looking like he could be top of the class early on for this year. But, or if it's, Castellanos as well too. That's the thing. I kind of like see if maybe if there's some second round guys. I don't know if Castellanos is this year or is it Launerman, the Boston College quarterback? Kind of like him too, Chad. Every time I see him throwing passes, the placement's always pretty nice. I don't know if they're always, again, decision making, some stuff. We'll have to see where that all lines up at. But he does have good placement even when he's mobile and flush out of the pocket and stuff like that. But this Browns team is going to be a competitive team, and I thought they were the better team today against the Bengals for sure. I really, again, don't even know how the Bengals scored their points. They weren't really getting cut into the red zone that much specifically. Do we have to do a little drive chart here for them? I guess it would have been probably just based off of those couple of turnovers that they had as well too. That last one, of course, being later in the game, more of a ceiling turnover than an actual leading to a score type situation. But okay, wait, so the first drive was a 12-play 68-yard drive, and then 16 for 67. Yeah, the Browns were just controlling the game the whole time. Flacco just checking down. The Flacco checkdowns are their run game at this point. Oh, Purdy flings it into the back of the end zone. Quadruple coverage. A receiver wasn't there, but fortunately also just out of the reach, the defender wasn't there as well too. Cincinnati punt, touchdown off of the 3 and outs by the Browns. And they had, Jamar Chase, of course, a couple of big plays, as you would expect. A penalty as well too, helping to move them into territory. Second half, 3-play drive, 7-play drive for a field goal, 3-play drive, 3-play drive, 3-play drive, 3-play drive. So yeah, the second half especially for the Bengals was really tough. So again, maybe we have to give the Browns defense a little bit more credit. Oh, did the 49ers just miss the field goal? Or was it blocked? Either way, 7-7, that game is still tied. A pretty, again, long drive for the Niners, got pretty deep into Seattle territory there, but I guess they got the stop, Chat. The special teams, Mike McDonald. The divisional matchup, Chat. That's going to be another good one, of course, as well, too. But, again, this Bengals offense, their ability to maybe just be kind of that undeniable thing is maybe a little bit less than we thought. And maybe that is the Cowboys this year. We were thinking, I guess the Cowboys, of course, did end up getting to 20 points in the last game. So yeah, how much more impressive was it than what the Bengals did? And they also have the excuse of the rain delay kind of messing the momentum of that game a little bit, even though it may have actually helped them out. It's maybe it started to spiral out a little bit for them if it hadn't gotten the delay. But yeah, tough second half for Cincinnati, and definitely a little bit of a hit for some of the playoff stuff that we were looking for. But they did get the win, so record-wise, that is going to be, of course, a good way to start the season. but not confident against their ability to perform against some of these good teams. And again, I think for them to be a Super Bowl team, they would have needed a little bit more of a step up from the rest of the roster. But for them to just maybe even be, in the mix for the NFC or the AFC North, I wouldn't have been too shocking if their offense was just back and high powered. Get Chase Brown as well too, kind of in a Joe Mixon spot, and they could just be completely undeniable. And they do have Jacksonville next week, Minnesota, Denver. So there is a definite quarterback, like we were saying in the season previews, there is a definite quarterback advantage that they should have in these first 4 games. With as good as Flacco looked today, Flacco, Lawrence, McCarthy, and then Bo Nix. And, Bo Nix, Sean Payton, we'll see how they look by the end of September as well, too. Maybe they start to kick it up to gear a little bit. Then you go Goff, Love, Rodgers, Fields, whoa, Caleb Williams, back to Rodgers at that point. So, and then you would go Ravens, Bills. Ravens is crazy. Chad, to go to Ravens, the divisional opponent where you go with the Ravens 2 out of 3 weeks. But then the Bills is your 3rd week in there as the mix-up is tough. And then you go, I guess, Miami, Arizona, Cleveland to end the season. A bye week and kind of a nice little middle stretch. So, they may be able to kind of fight their way to that Ravens, Bills, Ravens stretch with a good record and then ride out the rest of the season. Again, the schedule is kind of favorable for them, but it wasn't too convincing, chat. And maybe, I guess, will Josh Allen destroy a fourth quarter the same way like Myles Garrett did? I get for the Jaguars, or Danielle Hunter or I guess not Danielle Hunter anymore for the Vikings. Grinnard, Van Ginkel. Will Van Ginkel destroy the fourth quarter for the Vikings the same way that Myles Garrett will? That, of course, is a question mark, and he was the best defensive player in the league so far through the first slate of games, including the Thursday and the Friday game. I don't think there's a better defensive performance than what we saw from Myles Garrett in the fourth quarter early on. I guess we'll just have to see what Hutch continues to do in this game as well, too. But this one is 3-17 in favor of Detroit as they look, in favor of Green Bay. Detroit is down as Green Bay looks good moving the ball up and down the field. And Detroit, again, their offense has been there a little bit. Wait, what happened on the last drive? Did the Reds, we tune out on the red zone? Did they turn it over on downs somewhere? Dan Campbell getting a little too aggressive early on. But they are back over midfield, and Goff again to Amon-Ra over the middle of the field picks up another first down. So, yeah, that was the third, I think the 3rd and 6 that just happened there. Wait, do we have a time? 3:52? Yeah, okay. So we are in pretty much the right time. So the last drive that they had was, first quarter. Let's see here. Current drive. Wait, is it just this one, chat? Oh, it was. Oh, they just got the field goal, I guess. So it was 10. Oh, then they went. Okay, we're locked back in, chat. Then they got the touchdown as well, too. Oh, it's just because it was a 2-play drive. Hey, yo, what happened? Dobbs for 48 yards is crazy. And then Reed for 17. So Dobbs early on, I guess he's going to be a stats leader just based on that one play. But he has been targeted a bunch. 4 targets early on. Yeah, I was looking at his alt receptions early on, chat. I don't know. We should have gone Romeo Dobbs plus 4 receptions. That may hit. Reed as well, too. But, Golden was getting such hype, and Wicks is just a really productive receiver. Tucker Kraft, of course, is a really viable receiving tight end. So Dobbs is definitely the guy that, in terms of the draft process, we were watching him because I forget who his quarterback was. I want to say it was at Nevada. But I remember watching, of course, his quarterback on the YouTube highlights, and then his quarterback just kept throwing to Romeo Dobbs. And it's like, is the quarterback good, or is Romeo Dobbs just good? And his quarterback just keeps throwing to him over and over again. And, of course, the Packers took him later in the draft. So it was like, yeah, we actually kind of like this guy. So I know Wicks, and again, Golden's a hot. Some of these guys, like Reed and Wicks, were a little bit lower picks as well, too, I think. But maybe in some similar range, maybe a little bit higher. But, kind of the same. Not necessarily locked in number 1 receiver, need to win some reps in camp, and the hype starts to build around him in terms of who the fans are gravitating toward, or which guys they like, from a fantasy standpoint as well too. But Dobbs is our guy, and I guess we'll say that now that he's leading the team in receiving yards in week 1. So, check the tapes in a couple of weeks when Matthew Golden is finally locked in, and it's like, oh, yeah, he's 600 yards in the month of November. But, field goal attempt for Seattle sneaks in, chat. We got 10-7 as that one is about to go to halftime there. So, Sam Darnold with the lead, chat. NFC West is going to be a fun division this year. Arizona did get a win early, even if it wasn't looking great. And that Rams defense is giving Houston problems early as well, too. Stroud is looking rattled by the pressure. And I know that him and Daniels aren't really competing in an official way, but I think there is a little bit of an unofficial competition of sort of, the next quarterbacks. I think those guys are kind of the top two guys for the sort of year 2 to 3 range quarterbacks as well. Oh, yeah, TV, we're still watching. Hey, yo, chat, that's the sign of a football Sunday. The TV thinks we're not watching anymore. We're just leaving it on. It is what it is. Nah, chat, it should know. What are you talking about? The NFL is on in the background. Obviously, we're still locked in. The games are still going. I guess I don't know why we're connected to the wrong Wi-Fi here all of a sudden. But we'll get the... Oh, chat, we're going to have to pull a buzzer beater. Oh, of course. For some reason, the Wi-Fi switched on us, and our remote wasn't on the right one. And now we're going to have to fire it back up. Oh, TV number 2 is going to go now, chat. Here, we're going to have to save TV number 2 before we fire up TV number 1. Okay, there we go. The buzzer beater on TV number 2. It works. But, unfortunately, the Lions-Packers game, just solo game broadcast. Here we go. Now we're back up and going. So, yeah, Puka's back in, chat. Welcome back, Puka Nacua. But it is 6-0 for the Texans. So they have been able to squeak out some yards and get some points. So maybe, again, if we go watch sort of the course of this game, as this locks in a little bit more as well, too, it could just be these defenses really going at each other, because these could be two of the better defensive units in the league, for sure. But Lions still driving here. A chance to make it a one-score game before half would be a real big swing on this game. That would be... And who gets the... Do the Packers get the ball to start? So they could go back and balance it out that way. Oh, no, they started. Oh, chat, so the Lions could get really interesting here. The odds they go 14 points out of these two drives is pretty... a little bit low, but for them maybe get 10, 6, even 6 gets it with a one-score game before the Packers get the ball back with some real time would be still, again, a little bit of a way to cut into the lead. And Bo Nix to Cortland Sutton, chat, the jump ball in the end zone. So ugly first half for Denver, but a potential 10-6 lead going into halftime. Again, Tennessee, you just want to see competitiveness, and you just want to see good play from your quarterback this year. Ooh, that's a good pass from Nix right there. And he's really making Sutton use his vertical leap on these passes, chat. Hey, yo, that interception was another jump ball like that. Again, that wasn't necessarily a bad throw. It was a little tough, but the defender also just made a good play there, definitely. And that time Sutton had the step, led him perfectly. Perfect placement for sure. So, and Sutton just, again, with the leaping on the catches, I don't know if I've seen a receiver leap up this much in one game. Just kind of in stride as well, too. Hey, yo, shout out Sutton. But, yeah, the Lions here, 2nd and 10 with a minute 54 left. Parsons, I don't know if we have a Parsons snap count, but we don't necessarily, of course, need to see him in a full snap count kind of way as well, too. This is a 16-game season, the playoffs. You expect the Packers to be there. The way this game's going, too. Again, we'll see if the Lions make this interesting. But even if this game was going to be close, I think it would be a smart thing to maybe save him a little bit more for the fourth quarter end of the game. The Packers do have some guys, like you do have Gary there to at least, and I assume he's healthy. Yeah, we were checking the injury reports, but, oh, chat, and here it is. Now we're doing the Reggie White, Micah Parsons thing. I know that I do like the repeating history of random stuff like that for sure. I mean, again, the Packers have it offensively with their quarterbacks, but that also is just, a lot of pressure to put on Micah Parsons as well, too. Like, Reggie White is is crazy, Chad. Like, Brett Favre is crazy as well. Like, shout out to Brett Favre, one of the great quarterbacks in NFL history. Obviously retired as, the greatest stats quarterback in NFL history when he left the game, and had a bunch of MVPs as well. Oh, Chad, Goff. Is that incomplete? 3rd and 7 in the red zone. He throws a pick. Not McKinney. I don't know. Evan Williams. I don't know, safety or corner there. I think safety. But Goff driving a killer turnover. They will, I think, like we said, get the ball to start the second half. A potential chance to, again, not let the game get out of hand. Was it Parsons that time, Chad? Parsons with the cut inside, and they line him up right on Sewell over the right tackle. In the speed, the pressure makes Goff, I think, rush that just a little bit. And Chad, Goff with an early interception. You don't like to see him get rattled in these types of games. So I guess, there we go, Chad. Immediately, Micah Parsons living up to the red-white thing as well, too. But I guess maybe Brett Favre, like, slightly more attainable than Reggie White. Like, that's just crazy. I don't know, Micah. Like, I'll tell you right now that Micah Parsons may have more stats and a better career. Like, I guess he could have a better career than Reggie White. I don't know, like, exactly all the accolades that he had to put up from here on out. But just play style wise, from the highlights that I've seen, I'm just, I'll take Reggie White. Like, Micah Parsons is, I guess there is maybe a level up we could see as well, too. So I'll give him a chance, Chad. I'll give him a chance. But I'll take Reggie White. Hot take, give me Deacon Jones versus any of these guys, these days, Chad. But, it is what it is. Oh, the end around. McVay, is that the Worthington, that little kind of gadget guy they've had there for a season or two now? So trying to get him a touchdown, Chat. Mess up all the fantasy stuff. Oh, Tennessee on the special teams return. The new kickoff, Chat. It's been devastating a little bit. I don't know if it's really been devastating so far, but it seems like it's been on the edge of some guys making some returns. And the Tennessee gets a great way to start that drive deep into the Broncos territory. So, yeah, Chat. Hey, yo. Not a lot of run game and a rattled Goff. This could be tough. I guess he's been efficient so far, so we can't give him too much. We can't doubt him too much. But you kind of see the high end of the other side as well, too. Love with a couple more explosive plays. And maybe that's what Ben Johnson and McVay are able to provide. Not just necessarily, the offense making 3 plays, getting down the field every time, and just kind of consistently working and picking up positive yardage, but actually taking the next step of, we're going to sequence this, for this is going to set up this, and now this deep opportunity is open over here to set up this big play in this spot. And again, I think maybe, like we're saying, that Goff definitely can't get this offense to function, but that is something that is definitely probably going to be a factor going through this season as well, too. It's just that overall creative factor, of course, in the offense. And the Packers do have a minute here to work with, so they're not necessarily out of the opportunity of getting a field goal and, making it even a little bit more painful, that turnover as well. But let's see, the Gamecast here is not updated for the 6-3. Let's see if we can get it. Here we go. Updated. 28 seconds left. Kyron Williams right on the goal line, so the Rams are about to steal that first half here if he gets in the end zone. Wait, where'd that game go, Chad? Did we just lose the box score for Rams-Texans? Am I crazy? Hey, yo, Chad. What's the NFL doing? What's happening? Are they rigging the game right now? I feel like I'm watching live. We're watching on Red Zone. Is this like a fake coverage? Tush push? Oh, the Rams. Can they run the tush push like the Eagles? I don't think they're going to get the spot. Stafford, he's not Hurts, Chad. He's not Hurts. Oh, well, maybe he hurts, but he's not Jalen Hurts. We got him. Wow, Chad. The Texans stop the tush push. I don't know if the Packers are going to get a drive here on this one. A good open field tackle by the Lions. And yeah, 3rd and 2, Dan Campbell. No timeout. There was about a minute left on the clock there. He could have called a timeout. If they get a stop, another timeout. They could have got the ball back with 30-some seconds in a timeout, at least giving an opportunity but doesn't look like that's going to happen there. And I guess we got the red zone on the Lions-Packers game, and we got the live broadcast of the game. So we know it's a stop. Okay, there officially is the stop. Oh, and it's a good tackle on the run as well, too. Good play to literally hold the running back back. And allowing the group to swarm around and, hey, pause, finish him off. Whoa, that's crazy. But, yeah, they could have definitely, I think, utilized their timeouts a little bit better there. They're going to have 2 timeouts with 20-some seconds left. It feels like you're really only going to have 1.5. I don't even know how you run a half a play, but you're really going to have like 1.5 plays when this punt is over. Oh, 4th and goal. The Rams are going to go for it. If you draw them off sides, it's not an automatic first down, so I don't think that's an opportunity. No, it's a Snapchat. The pitch! Kyron Williams gets in. Ooh, the pitch looked risky there for a second. The Texans were in the backfield. There was a lot of movement for the Rams, and it was like, oh, are they taking guys out of their own play? Not enough blockers, but Kyron Worthy finds a little crevice, gets in the end zone. They make the extra point, 7-6. Maybe they've been the better team. We haven't seen their offense as much as the Texans have kind of, worked their way down the field. But whoa. But again, with the way that their defense is played, it made it light difficult for the Texans. I don't think them winning is a bummer in this half as well too. So Packers are about to go into the half. Wait, how much time is left? 5 seconds? What just happened? Did they just take... Was that just the run back? It was just the run back, chat. Ayo, Dan Campbell, who knows what they're able to get with if he makes a timeout earlier there on that drive, but that does seem like at least we were talking about a half a play. Maybe it's a half a missed opportunity. Is it a full missed opportunity? So if there's another half a missed opportunity later in the game, then now we have to say, oh, Dan Campbell, that's a missed opportunity for that one. But for now, it's sort of a wait and see if it fully goes into the stat column. So yeah, 3-17. Again, they can cut it to 1 score early in the second half with that first drive. We'll see if they're able to unlock Jamison Williams. Again, I guess we're just giving them credit for their ability to do that, even though they don't have Ben Johnson there as well. But 9-10 versus, what was the scores there, chat? We got kind of some lower scores, but we got closer games all the way around. 9-10, 7-10, and then 6-7 were the 3 scores of the game here. So everything is within that 1-score range. And everything is in halftime right now as well too, chat. So we will take a quick break. Of course, we've got more of the early slate as well too. Some of these other games we haven't mentioned. And then, second half looks like we're going to at least get some competitive games, even if it's not Packers-Lions. And I don't even know if we mentioned this yet, chat, but the U.S. Open is on right now. The final of the U.S. Open. Alcaraz is playing center, and they may be... Oh, it's over! Alcaraz with the win! Straight sets? Oh, wow, chat. Oh, Sinner got the second one. Wow, but really outside of that, and, I guess the ones they got, of course, Sinner got him 6-3 as well, too. And I think Alcaraz was playing with a little maybe extra motivation. I don't know, do we have a tennis reference here on the Sports Reference website? We have a hockey and a soccer. Sports Reference, add a tennis stat. But I don't know what stats you can add. I was following the box score there for a second before we fired up here, and there is only 2 stats they have listed if you click on the game. It was just career wins and total earnings. Just money and wins. So I don't know what else you need to track in stats. Height and weight, money and wins is basically all you need to know. And where the tournament's being played at. Some hometown, just in case you want to, maybe a little backstory as well, too. Alcaraz, chat. Ayo, I guess he's had some more games as well. His record, he's 54-6 on his record. Sinner's only 31-4 as well, too. So, wait, what's the percentage on that? 54... Oh, wait a second. That'd be 54-60 would be 90. And then what do we got for Sinner? 31-35. 88! Ooh, our guy Alcatraz, chat. We do have a little Alcatraz stock. I'm not going to lie. I don't know if that's the sort of Nadal factor as well, too. But I think that Alcaraz I think he lost to Sinner in the previous major that they played in. I forget if it was the French Open, and if that's the last. Maybe Wimbledon was in between the French Open and the U.S. Open here. I forget exactly what the order of events there for that is, but I feel like he was playing with a little bit of a revenge factor chip on his shoulder as well, and he's been dominant since that loss, I think. Just trying to get back on, not even back on track, but, just trying to get that #1 title, become that dominant guy again as well, too. So shout out our guy Alcatraz getting the win at the U.S. Open. And I guess we do have 20 seconds left here. We're writing off the Texans early for the first half. Nico Collins on the slant, almost getting him to the target line for the field goal. Maybe they reclaim the lead. A quick drive. Who thought it was possible, chat? But a couple of early plays. Oh, false start, chat. Dalton Schultz, the tight end. We were about to get mad at the offensive line for Houston, but that's a tight end one, so it is what it is. They're going to not block, and it's going to be one of those years, and you're going to be like, oh, this offensive line is terrible, but not that time. We're good, the offensive line. And they do have Agumbawale as their running back as well, too. He's kind of a fun piece to have if they were drawing up some plays for him and getting him some production in the mix. And he gets a good block there, chat. Good blocker. Oh, speaking of Schultz, is that Schultz again on the drop? Who was on the drop there? 84? Wait a second. Was that Justin Watson? Oh, chat, the Chiefs might trade for him back. I know he just dropped it there, but he's been good for him when he played. Feels like maybe Mahomes might have hit him on that early drive where he overthrew Thornton. I don't know if, he overthrows Watson. Does Watson run under that one? Or does Mahomes think he's a little bit slower? I don't know. Oh, holding on the defense. There we go. Not on the offense, but we got it on Quentin Lake, the safety. So at least 5, fresh set of downs. And that's going to put him pretty close to the target line as well, too, because, again, off that slant route, I want to say they were about 7-8 yards away. So maybe you're at least in a range to just have an attempt. It's not necessarily a game winner at this point. I don't know if the Rams get the ball back to start the half, but still not the most disastrous time in the world to maybe test the limits of your kicker. Okay, they still now are, I guess, about 7 yards away from the target line. But Stroud on the scramble is going to go upfield, and he's going to get out of bounds. They did have a timeout left, so he could have slid, and they could have called that. The clock was getting a little close there, but 3 seconds. They're going to go into timeout with a half, chat. D'Amico Ryans, can he haggle with the refs to get that timeout if he needs it? 4 timeouts in the half. Will sacrifice a point to keep a timeout. I don't know if that's enough. Is a timeout worth a point? If you go into the half up 2, but you're only up 1 and you still have an extra timeout, I don't know. We have to do the analytical math on that. But I guess they have to make this field goal as well to potentially make that happen. So 53 yards is going to be the attempt. Oh, McCaffrey is playing, chat. Hey, yo, here we go. I guess, we weren't necessarily paying attention in the first half. Oh, 82 yards in the first half. McCaffrey's playing. He's healthy. Oh, chat. Proving the doubters wrong. Right when everybody thought, this is the... I guess maybe he's proving us wrong once again, chat. Now we thought McCaffrey was going to be injured and actually not play. All these years we thought, oh, McCaffrey's hurt, but he's going to power... he's on the Niners. He'll power through. He's a tough guy. It's like, oh, McCaffrey's... And not to say that he's not tough, but it's just like, oh, he's out for the next, whatever, how many games. He's not going to play this game. Split carries with whatever. This time it's like, nope, McCaffrey, he's hurt in the offseason. We're going to play him week 1, and he's going to carry the ball every time. 82 yards in the first half. So 53-yard attempt for Houston. Fairbairn, chat. Oh, it looks like it's going to be good. Yeah, right down the middle. 3 points, 9-7 in the first half. So chat, the scores of the games, we got a 9-10, a 9-7, and a 10-7 is pretty equal, even, literally all the way around type scoring, except for Green Bay, Detroit. It's literally just the point, division as well, too. I feel like it's kind of the same amount of points in all these games. We're at 20 points in every game. So yeah, I guess, shout out. Very even all the way around, chat. Competitive, the NFL. Is this a sign, chat, that everybody is on the same level early in the season, except for the Colts? Coming up next, chat, we're going to tell you why the Colts are the best team in the league after week 1. Don't go anywhere right after this. right, chat, we are back, and there's been a delay in Purdy's thrown interceptions, so I guess we caught up on the Niners game just by saying that. The Seahawks have the ball right now, but the Titans-Broncos game has, I guess, been weather delayed, so the third weather delay of the week, of course, no, it's that time of the year, but it does seem like maybe 3 delays over the course of 3 weeks is maybe a little bit more common as well. I mean, I guess we did have 2 delays in one day versus a third delay in a different day. I don't know if that makes a difference, but also maybe this is actually only the second delay because I don't know if anybody actually cared that Panthers versus Jags got delayed. Ayo, shout out Panthers versus Jags. But, you know, we also had the benefit of a bunch of other games on at that time. Of course, Cowboys was a really good game when it got delayed, but it was also just the only game that night. It's a primetime game as well, too. You know, Titans-Broncos is a little bit of a bummer because this is shaping out to be one of the more interesting ones, for sure. I guess, you know, Seahawks and stuff, there's a lot of talent on that team, and the Niners, both those teams trending in maybe not necessarily aggressively different directions, but just slightly different directions. Like, you know, wouldn't be surprised for, obviously, this to be a good game, divisional game as well, too. And I know maybe it wasn't necessarily, like, the most talked about team in this offseason. Well, I guess maybe it was because I feel like in some ways, again, we were kind of saying if we were doing a power rankings, and again, not to be disrespectful, but you got to rank the teams at some point. There's just a certain order. Teams got to be in. There's one team for every 32 spots. So it is what it is. You know, change it up next year and move your spot around. But, but we were kind of saying as a football power ranking community that maybe the Saints and the Browns were on the lower end of the power ranks. And I feel like on some of the draft stuff as well, too, again, a team like Indianapolis was like, are we going to be in contention for the number 1 pick just in terms of if the season goes bad and then, again, what we need at quarterback and our ability to, like, do we just get aggressive and just say, hey, let's try to get a number 1 guy at that spot? Because, again, the Panthers do have Bryce Young, and I guess, you know, hold that thought, Chet. Hey, yo! But they at least, again, going through the timeline of that, obviously, they invested in that pick and they drafted him number 1. So I guess the name of the player and the way that's been is one thing, obviously. But again, they have, yes, like I said, Bryce Young, but they have a highly invested first-round quarterback as well, too. So I think, one, we thought they have a highly invested first-round quarterback and they've brought in a coach and maybe that there's a opportunity with some underrated talent on this team that this team could at least be a competitive team. I don't think that, again, we were talking about the Panthers as like, are they going to compete for the NFC South? Maybe if we were getting really hot takey, that was like a fun hot take. And again, it's the Panthers. Bryce Young was a really fun college player. Like, Bryce Young being a likable college player at Alabama is maybe one of the most impressive things that anybody's ever done in a college football career. And like making an Alabama team like kind of a likable, like, this team is like kind of a come from behind pause type team, and his ability and his just entertainment value on that. Bo Nix, chat. Is that McCurry again? Oh no, it's Woods, the safety. So the Titans. Oh wait, are we back for this game? I didn't realize that. It didn't dawn on me that we were back from the weather delay there for a second. So yeah, shout out second half, because I guess this one did delay right at halftime. So that's a perfect time for, you know, again, this one delayed with like 4 minutes left in the second quarter, so it's like, okay, well, we have to wait out this whole delay, and then now we have to go to halftime. Like, we can't just add 4 minutes to the third quarter and be like, okay, now we're in a 19-minute third quarter is gonna be what we're playing here. Let's just get this game going. Maybe we'll take and maybe that's when we get the 4 timeouts. 19-minute fourth quarter, but every team gets an extra timeout in the second half, and then we just get going right after the weather delay. Chat, look at that. They should have DM'd the pod, and we would just been, here's the rule fix. I guess, you know, stat-wise as well, too, the stats were not that different outside of Bryce Young had another pick, and Trevor Lawrence did have a couple more yards as well, too. ETN with a big day, Chad. He had the 71-yarder as well, which really helped carry his stats there for a second. But I guess later in the game, he was able to get a couple extra yards as well, too. 16 for 143, so he's got to be the lead running back yardage-wise on the week so far. And that was a good pick by Woods as well, too. You know, Bo Nix is being aggressive going down the field. I think, is that new? Do we need to go back and check the tapes from last year, Chad? Maybe we weren't, you know, paying attention to that as well when we were talking about him trying to find Cortland Sutton and some of these down the field opportunities. But he did, of course, have that stereotype of Oregon of just the short passes, and we have to go back last year, kind of just the rookie getting used to the NFL, Sean Payton adjusting and everything, and maybe this year they're like, okay, we're not just gonna kind of perfect some of the shorter timing stuff, we're gonna try to unleash and become a dynamic offense, like we were saying earlier as well too, because he has been really aggressive in pushing the ball down the field. He's had good pace on his passes as well too. I don't know if that is necessarily the type pass that's like, Lamar just zips that right in, and it's just the speed of that pass is going to be able to make it a completion. But it was a good read, good attempt as well too. But I guess what we're saying, the long road of what we're trying to say for the Panthers is, Chad, the Panthers might be the number one pick in the draft this year. I don't know. It looked really tough there for a second. I know they have some injuries, but we did like we've mentioned a couple times, of course, when we did our NFL cores team, where we picked one guy from each team to be in the starting lineup for this hypothetical, 22-man lineup, we had to leave some teams off, and the Panthers got left off, but we didn't really have anybody in the conversation, unfortunately, as well too. Maybe Derek Brown, but I mean, it's just going to be, there's just a lot of defensive tackles, and it would just, that would be a scenario where we would have to get a Panther. And not to say, oh yeah, we have to get, Derek Brown's a great defensive tackle, so, any team would love to have him. But in that type of team building exercise, compared to taking players off of other rosters and stuff, like if we had to get all 32 teams represented in some type of way, then yes, we would probably gravitate toward using a defensive tackle spot to take Derek Brown, and maybe the Panthers in that type of way. Or maybe we would go, J.C. Horn at corner, Ted McMillan at receiver, honestly, and just say whoever is quarterback and the rest of the team is going to be fine. Maybe it would just be legit at receiver. I guess our guy was 3 for 10. McMillan being decent today is probably not bad, though. 5 for 68. So, and again, first round pick, he can be a guy that can be there year over year. Moyrig flying around is kind of encouraging as well, too. Derek Brown, 3 tackles, not able to get to the quarterback today is unfortunate. And who was the guy that they got from? Did they get a Penn State pass rusher that I'm thinking of, or did they get one of the Texas A&M guys? I feel like they have got a pass rusher kind of early on. This year, yeah, but maybe last year, the 2024 draft as well, too. Oh, yeah, Scorton, I guess was that. Oh, yeah, he was A&M. Okay, yeah, he was second round, number 51 overall, and then maybe there is a Penn State guy as well, too. So those are some names that I don't know if they were, like guys that we were eyeing as sleepers in the draft, but I know a lot of people really valued their ability and really thought that there'd be some translation there as well, too. And I think there definitely can be for sure. Let's see here. Oh, South Carolina would be DJ Wanham, I guess. Does it say? He would have been 4th round. Pat Jones, 3rd round. Scorton, 2nd round. So I guess, 2021, they have been, of course, taking guys as well, too. Maybe I'm thinking of Princely Umanamanilian from Ole Miss. DJ Johnson, Oregon, 3rd round pick. Boogie Basham, shout out. 2nd round pick from the Colts as well. So I guess the Seahawks weren't able to do anything with the turnover because it's still 10-7, and Purdy's now driving again. He's over midfield. So 1 touchdown, 1 pick. He's got 15 for 20, 162. Purdy is one of those guys as well. And I think, again, for us, maybe myself specifically, this is something that I try to do is, of course, and not to be disrespectful, of course, of guys, the top ability of what they can get to, but just kind of looking at the week-to-week play. When you say, like, is this guy a good quarterback? Can Purdy be a good quarterback? Are you comparing him against the top quarterbacks in the league? Is he carrying a team the same way that Josh Allen and Lamar is? No. But is he a guy that put him in good circumstances, of course, early in his career? He could definitely be a really good manager of those rosters. But now with the team that still has really good stud players, but needs a guy to kind of step up and make some plays and be aggressive and take some chances. And he's kind of doing that in this game as well, too. Again, they're losing right now. We'll see. He's thrown a pick. It's a balancing act right now. We'll see if he's on the edge of whether or not he'll be able to do it or not. But he is, at least he has the ability, and he's taken, I guess, the attempt of being aggressive. And again, he's got 20 passes early in the game, a lot of yards. He's trying, he's throwing down the field. That was a good play by the linebacker to get up and get that interception as well. So I know we were kind of saying it earlier, but the NFL's talented right now. These teams are even. These games have been good. There's just been a lot of playmaker type plays. Again, good interceptions, guys flying around versus, maybe we even saw some more interception balls from like Prescott early on and, or some like moments later in the games in that Eagles game on Thursday night. But good defensive stop on third down by the Seahawks front on Christian McCaffrey, able to hold him at the line of scrimmage. But Shanahan's gonna go for it on 4th and 2. Hey, yo, do they not trust their kicker? Was that a little bit of a struggle last year for him? Moody, the Michigan guys, is he still there, chat? They are at the 30, so that would seem like a makeable field goal. They're gonna go with Purdy with the pass. Oh, chat, he got the guy. He got the catch. It was definitely a couple of defenders there, and Luke Farrell holding on to that was good too, because I don't know if he got concussion racked, but that was a good fundamental tackle by Witherspoon. But Purdy had a little bit of a rush lane there too, so he could have had that for 2 yards with his legs potentially. Pause. But good pass, staying patient in the pocket, finding his guy. And again, a guy like Farrell, these guys, like maybe they need a quarterback to be a distributor. He doesn't just have all the same type of weapons, and Deebo Samuel's not there. Yards after the catch. Again, McCaffrey's there this week, but is the offensive line the same type of ability to just dominate in the run game the same type of way as well? But yeah, Carolina, chat, we wish them the best of luck this year, and I still really, again, like Canales, and I like Bryce Young. If Bryce Young wants to be on the Colts roster in a certain capacity, we'll gladly sign Bryce Young as a quarterback, chat. He can, he can be on the team. We would love to have Bryce Young, but we'll just see, I guess, ultimately how that plays out from a win situation. And the Saints at the end of the day, they did get to, was it 10 or 13? They did get to 13, maybe, because Rattler, again, speaking of guys kind of doing their job, Rattler was being competitive in that game as well, too. Yeah, they were driving there at the end. Did they drop a touchdown? He did, didn't he? He dropped a touch. One of the guys dropped a touchdown at the end of this game. Where were they at in the fourth quarter here? Turnover on downs, 13 plays, 40 yards. Chad took him a second, but still at least able to get it timely in some type of way. A couple of incompletions, but yeah, the one to Johnson, I think, on 3rd and 10, or was it 4th and 10 to Olave? I don't remember, but maybe it was the 3rd and 10, was a pretty good pass, and the receiver wasn't just quite able, unfortunately, to haul it down. I don't know if Rattler was great on all of these as well, too. So we're not saying Rattler was perfect in this game, but their defense is definitely better than the Carolina defense. That's unfortunate. I think the Arizona offense we can see where that's at compared to the Jags offense. And Arizona's another one. I don't know if they necessarily came out and, made a statement the same way we thought that maybe kind of they might have needed to for a team that was as trendy as they were. There was an underground movement for sure for Atlanta. I don't know if it started to move to above ground by the time the season started, but a lot of people were definitely, of course, valuing their team there as kind of a sleeper playoff team. And we do like a lot of the talent as well, too. Again, that was another one sort of who's the standout high-end guy if it's not, Marvin Harrison this year, or if we're not going McBride at the tight end as well spot, too. And again, McBride, I guess he does have a good grade as a player, so we don't want to disrespect him. But did McBride make the top 100? And again, that's a tough list. I'm not trying to, be like, oh, McBride's not a top 100 player in the league. I'm just saying that, do they quite have a guy in that mix is definitely a question mark, and we'll have to see how this season plays out as well. Harrison looked good in some moments. He had a pretty good first half. I don't know what the stats were like for the whole game here. Let's see if he got to a decent yardage mark. 5 for 71 and a touchdown. You'll take it, Chad, and to be honest, again, is he gonna, does he have to have 150 yards every week? We'll see. Obviously, maybe yards after the catch, some of that creation stuff is definitely interesting to see. But he also at Ohio State was, I think, a little bit more before the catch type of a receiver. Like, he could just get down the field, he could get open, he could win in some jump ball situations. And again, their offense could get vertical, and he could be like, they could be like 45 yards out, and he could just get 40 yards down the field and be open, and they could just get the touchdown. He'd be walking in the end zone. But I don't know if he was necessarily the same type of, yards after. He is, again, a little bit of a skinnier Devontae Adams type as well. And speaking of field goals, chat, the Niners, they just got a field goal blocked. The Seattle special team, is that the second one of the day, actually? Hey, yo, we might have to start taking notes, chat. But Jake Moody, our guy, great. I mean, good kick, we'll say. Just great job by the Seahawks defense breaking through there. McDonald, was he a special teams coordinator? He was the defensive coordinator, but I don't know if there's some special teams background there. But that unit's locked in to start, chat. Hey, yo, game-changing. The Seattle special teams unit's the best unit in the NFL so far. We've got, I don't know, Myles Garrett is just Myles Garrett in the Seahawks special teams is what stood out so far in week 1. So Bo Nix, 2 picks early on, chat. 16 for 27, 123, a touchdown, and 2 picks. This is going to be a game we'll be like sorting out hopefully later in the year. It's be like, oh yeah, week 1 was 2 interceptions, but since then he's been okay. Denver's still on the live next-gen stats. They're saying 78% on the win probability. Tennessee has a 2-point lead halfway through the third. Again, they've been consistently kind of pushing the ball and have been flying around in the secondary. Denver can't really run, which was a little bit of a question mark. Maybe is that just Dobbins? I guess we could see what Harvey's up to as well. Have they gone and committed to him as a full carry guy? Will they give Dobbins an opportunity in some of these games? But 2nd and 2, he just runs straight ahead, Chad. It's like a yard and a half. It's going to be 3rd down. So, yeah, I guess, again, Arizona did look like Harrison was good. McBride was good. Some of those main guys did have a good game. And Benson had a good play as well, too. Connor, 12 for 39. I don't know if that's just Saints defense or if it's like, is this going to be one of the years where maybe this is a good thing that they have Trey Benson as a sort of insurance policy there as well, too, sort of next guy to take over. But the play that he made up the sideline, staying in bounds, and kind of the cut he made as well, too. I think he is a bigger running back, a little bit of a stronger running back, maybe a little bit kind of like that James Conner mold. Yeah, 6 foot 220. So he is maybe runs with a little bit more strength as well. But the way he kind of cut that back out was pretty impressive. So he could definitely, of course, take more of a RB1 opportunity, and maybe that helps the offense be a little bit more dynamic. And Kyler, I guess, 21 for 29 is not bad. But, again, there was a little bit of just not quite able to totally pull away from the Saints throughout the course of this game. 46 passes, though, for Rattler is crazy. And I don't know if it says more. Again, we'll have to go back and I guess watch all Rattler's 46 pass attempts. Does it say more about the Arizona defense or Rattler's ability that he didn't throw a pick in those 46 passes? Again, 214, 27 of 46, and no touchdowns. Are we really, really looking for the silver linings here? Hey, yo. But regardless, that if we're talking about number 1 pick stuff, that is something. And maybe it is a real thing. If the Saints really do want Arch Manning, and I guess, Simmons on his pod was talking about Nussmeier, the LSU guy, that makes a lot of sense as well, too, just from a hype standpoint, the in-state guy for sure. But also, you can't really get much more hype than the hype that we saw for Arch Manning. We'll see, and even another year in college, obviously. We'll like we've said, we'll still have the stock, so don't expect us to be out on Arch Manning anytime soon in the next, 18 to 24 months. It is what it is. But, again, Spencer Rattler, maybe he wins 4 or 5 games there. Who knows? I guess you got the Pats right now sitting at number 2 on Tankathon. I don't know if this is a preseason odds type thing. Of course, Miami we could look into as well. That's one where you could see them win 3 games in a row maybe at the end. Do they want the number 1 pick? Maybe, I guess we'll see what happens there for sure. And Arch Manning, still number 1 on Tankathon as of 3 days ago. So, I don't know. Did he watch week 1, Jet? Hey, yo. Obviously the stats were good in week 2, but, the opponent is one thing as well from week to week. But Carolina at 4, Carolina is they're going to be in the mix, chat. It is what it is. Ooh, is that a near pick? I don't know what just happened. Some chaos in the Seahawks San Francisco game. Denver on a 4th and 4 at the 10 is going to go for it. They've got to be just trying to, yeah, they're drawing him offsides. There we go. I was going to say, there's no way. 4:20 in the fourth quarter. I was going to say, Sean Payton's got to be, he's in Denver. Chat 4:20 in the fourth quarter. He's making some weird decisions. Hey, yo. It's like you can't, down 2 points, you're going to pass on the field goal there? I know, again, Tennessee's moved the ball, but you still got to trust your defense to get a 1-point lead. Can you hold out for a quarter at this point? You got to, Chat. You got to trust your field goal unit. So we'll see if Tennessee's special teams steps up. But shout out to Callahan as well, too. They've competed here for at least a quarter, 2.5 quarters. They have a lead through 2.5 quarters. And again, the 8.5-point spread, this was a team that not only was, I know we were a little more positive on this pod about what the potential of them could be. I don't know if we could quite commit to them to a playoff team, and that is still a pretty sizable jump as well, too, from a win standpoint. But, there was a little question mark of what is the coaching going to be like week to week? Are they going to be the most prepared team? Is this, penalties, are they going to be an issue? What's going to happen there? But so far they've competed with, again, a team that you would expect to be a well-coached team as well, too. Is it September? Is Callahan good at September and then Peyton bad? What's Callahan's September record? But if this, if at least he's good for a month, that's something, Chad. We'll at least get the good start to the Cam Ward career. Then Cam Ward can kind of take over leading the team from there. We'll see. But Bo Nix does get the drive there, leads the team back down the field. So again, they move the ball, just turnovers, and unfortunately haven't been able to complete some of the possessions there. But, and the Saints, maybe they're just throwing us off in week 1, Chad. And again, maybe it's the Cardinals are a little bit more of on the outside of a wild card team. Or, they've got, again, younger talent, so they can build. We can't write them off. The coaching, they can be a team that builds momentum later in the season. I don't know if we look at a schedule here again to remind ourselves what we're looking at over the course of the season. Make no mistake, Chad. Not the first time we're going to pull up a schedule for a team over and over again. Niners, Seahawks, a couple divisional games next. So could set a tone early, division if they have some success there. That would help them for some playoff scenarios, some stuff. And then you go Titans, Colts through the first 6 weeks. Green Bay, week 7, a bye at Dallas, Seattle, San Francisco. So it does get a little tougher there in end of October, November. But through the first 6 weeks, they could, if they lose both the divisional games, they could still be 4-2 in non-divisional games. And maybe they get one of those divisional games and then lose to Tennessee and Cam Ward's playing really well. Or, Indy's still cooking at that point. It's like now you're 4-2 to Indy. Even still 3-3 would be not necessarily a hipster team record, but you wouldn't necessarily be panicking at that point. Maybe you would, looking at the schedule approaching. But you would still, again, be playing, I think, kind of well at 20-3. So, again, defensive team on the road as well, too. There is, starting the season, definitely gonna maybe take a second for Arizona to get to the best version of themselves. But the Saints were minorly impressive today. Oh, Chat, is that an interception? I thought that was going to be a jump ball catch. Stroud just threw it up on 2nd and 23 to the sticks. Pause. He was trying to get the first down there. And is that Kobe Durant, Chat? Hey, yo. Were his parents basketball fans? I guess, I don't know if they changed their own last name, but the double basketball name with the jump ball. I guess that's not necessarily a basketball thing as well, too. Yeah, it was on the receiver had it, Chat. Higgins had it, and Durant snatched it away from him as Higgins was falling to the ground. Higgins had it and was legitimately halfway to the ground at that time. Sometimes you see it wrestle it away at the high point, but Higgins had possession of it. That's almost a fumble. More so, it's gonna, an interception. But are we being Stroud biased there for a second? But just in terms of just the dynamic of how he was able to get that turnover as well too. That was just great concentration throughout the course of the play there. Was he able to get it, though, throughout? Higgins definitely slapped at it, and it does make contact with the ground. Durant's arm is on it, though. That's a tough one, Chat. It does move a little bit. Pause. Again, Durant does have it kind of tucked under his armpit. I don't know if he does have possession, though, because it kind of slides up into his, we're talking about the football, Chat. Kind of slides up into his wrist and more of a carrier spot after that. So you could say maybe the ground kind of knocked it up in there a little bit. And there again, chat, the Broncos defense swarms. Cam Ward loves rolling out to his left. It is what it is. He's been sacked over there a couple of times. Ooh, Darnold with the quick pass. JSN. Oh, JSN fumbles, chat. Are the Seahawks able to get that back? Is that sneaky yardage? Oh, chat, they ruled it down somewhere. No, Niners with the turnover. So JSN, chat, they've been relying on him early, of course, as a main receiver, and he could be a high receptions guy this year for sure. Maybe we weren't valuing that enough. But were we talking Spencer Rattler earlier as well too? If we were talking Spencer Rattler again, I know we're talking a different tier of the league. Are we having to argue about Spencer Rattler versus Bryce Young? But the number one draft pick does matter, and if you're a franchise that's at least, I don't know if the Panthers are attempting to get it, but Spencer Rattler, at least that's a conversation, chat. Hey yo, I don't know if that says more about what it is, but it's a debate that you'd have to have. I think you'd have to say the Saints after week 1 are better than the Panthers. It is what it is. Did they score the same amount of points, 13, or did the Panthers have 10? Hey yo, yeah, the Panthers had 10, so it's not the lowest score of the week. The lowest score of the week would be Miami, and to be honest, again, Miami definitely, obviously, they had the worst performance in terms of scoring, but just overall as well. The offense looked pretty dysfunctional. There was, some definite inaccuracy there at the quarterback spot that led to some turnovers. And again, to just give up 33 to the Colts as well, too. Maybe we're a sneaky team. We were saying, if you want to talk about literally nobody believes in us, we said going into the offseason, we saw the fan, or going into the season, there was a fan survey that we saw on one of the FS, I think it was Cowherd's show, and the Colts finished last in the fan happiness survey for the course of the team. It's literally nobody likes this team. Nobody thinks this team's going to make the playoffs. We're probably more likely to get the number 1 overall pick. And we literally have the best day of any team in week 1. We have I guess not necessarily the highest points total, but the most dominant performance. The offense scores on every possession. It's the first time the Colts have won a week 1 game in over a decade. Scott Hansen, I'm a Colts fan. I guess it's the rhythm of the season. Hey, yo, you lose week 1. We don't even think about it anymore. It's been 11 years since we won a week 1 game, Chad. I've gotten a couple degrees. I don't even go to school. Hey, yo, that's crazy. You can't have families being raised before you even win a week 1 game. But we finally bring in Daniel Jones, and he breaks the streak. Hey, yo. But he actually looked accurate. He hit Alec Pierce on a down the field throw that was really nice. Yeah, Pittman had 80 yards. Tyler Warren, again, he's of course just be one of the most talented players in the draft in general. But the tight end position, chat, and I don't know if we are just subconsciously always trying to, if maybe the Chiefs are obviously a different version of the team now than they were back then, but maybe still that version of what that Chiefs team was is what we're trying to chase, of a perfect team building type team, or it's just influenced us in terms of how we think a team should be. But having a pass rusher like Chris Jones is, of course, our most ideal pass rusher that we want to have. And, we love having DeForest Buckner. He kind of fits that mold as well, too. We wouldn't really, not a lot of guys we'd trade him for. Oh, chat, the Lions could have had a pick there in the third quarter. And Anzalone just couldn't quite bring it in. But they, of course, had Tyreek as that speed option on the outside, but they had Kelsey as that guy for that main weapon on offense for the main peak of their powers run. And you would think even Brady, for the last stretch of his career, he had, was it Deion, is it not Deion Kane, Chad? Hey, yo, it's Deion Branch. Who's the guy? Oh, man, Deion, we're thinking Superman. Deion, we were just watching, what was it again? Out of Time. Hey, it is, Tubi keeps pushing Out of Time, or YouTube, or one of those. It is what it is. But, again, you got Deion Branch earlier on, Randy Moss in 07. He did have, I think, some interesting tight ends early on in his career. But then the last decade of his career, has Gronkowski in New England, and then even in Tampa when he goes over there as well, too. So that as a main weapon thing, and they had Edelman for sure, Welker, he had good receivers over the course of his run there in the last half of his Patriots run. But then Mahomes with Kelsey, and I know, I guess Josh Allen doesn't necessarily have the tight end the same type of way, or Lamar or the other top guys. But Brock Bowers today, was also maybe the best receiver in the league. Just the way he could be that check down option for the quarterback, but then dominate after the catch. And you do kind of see, and it is a little bit more modern as well too. Of course, there was great receiving options throughout the history of the tight end. You know, Mike Ditka and all these guys. I mean, those guys even had like the receiving tight end records up until Bowers entered the league. But now that the tight end is becoming a little more receiver focused, I do wonder if that is like a best type of number one receiver. And the receiver talent as well too. And there's an interception by Love, Chet. Oh, Brian Branch, we could have bet him for an interception. We looked at that, Chet. Hey, yo. Last year we had, it's just called the FanDuel jinx. We need to come up with a better term for it. It's not a jinx. I mean, we do have, of course, the FanDuel jinx. When you bet on it, it's just like, okay, it completely doesn't happen. But the one where it's the bet that you look at, like you almost, like you have it in the bet slip and then you just decide to bet against it. And it's like, okay, well, can we bet on, we can't have our Lions bets be Aiden Hutchinson to get a sack and Brian Branch to get a pick, but defense is probably going to be the strength of their team this year, and those are I don't want to get cliche, but those are playmaking type guys. And if you get into a situation where it's like, okay, who on the Lions is going to step up? We've seen Hutchinson step up all the time, and we've seen Brian Branch. He's stepped up as well, too. The Lions have run 45 plays to the Packers 29, so yeah, that Goff turnover was killer as well too, and the way the Packers defense has stepped up as the field is shortened, but that's also bringing in just having pass pressure like Parsons, in the rotation now as well. But again, to see the way that Warren was able to impact the game with Daniel Jones, like, wait a second, Daniel Jones looks like a good quarterback and he's in rhythm, and now he can work on getting some down the field stuff, and maybe, Steichen as a quarterback guy, maybe, is that really kind of shed some light on the Richardson thing as well too? I don't know, Chad, because again, I would have necessarily, if they had called me to make a call, they're like, Rem has to choose, it's got to be Ballard or it's got to be Steichen or Richardson, which one is it? I'd be like, I can't choose because I'm going to choose Richardson, and that's probably not the right pick. But again, I would have had that irrational confidence. But you see if Steichen, what he was able to do offensively in Philly, and now it's like, oh, that actually the offense looked good today. Again, I don't know if Daniel Jones is going to be consistent week to week, but you could see the sort of progression of the plays, and even the run attack wasn't necessarily all there. Taylor 18 for 71 definitely had some good moments, and Giddens 12 for 41. But it's not like, again, we were dominating on the ground. Crazy. I guess maybe if we added up, but 18 and 12 is still kind of a lot of carries. So, as a team, that's 40 carries, but Daniel Jones had 7. So 33 carries for, 121 yards, or 124 yards, something like that. I don't know. But, a good game off bounds. Again, at the end of the day, the offense is moving, and that's what counts. But there was some, again, the rest of the roster sort of coaching staff, functional stuff that that stuff also was getting overlooked, and that's the other stuff that Indy was getting, I think, a little frustrated about as well too. It's like, the roster is still good. If Daniel Jones is not, again, are we going to be a playoff team? But were we going to be a number one pick team? Our hot take was like, maybe the Colts do win 7 games this year. Like, maybe we win 6 games, and maybe there's a couple of games like this on the schedule as well too that could be favorable matchups. Because again, unfortunately Tua was just out of rhythm all day. We'll just, we'll say out of rhythm. I mean, Zach Wilson got 8 passes in week 1, Chet. That's not what you want to see. You want to see Miami up 33-8. It's like, okay, woof, now Zach Wilson can go in. Let's get Tua, make sure Tua stays healthy, not the other way. But, and you never want Zach Wilson to have the higher completion percentage. 32 yards is not necessarily pushing the ball down the field as well. And the Colts secondary was flying around. Bynum with the interception. Like, Bynum might be Ballard's best free agency signing he's ever had. Like, I'm trying to think of who even the expensive guys that he's brought in were. Of course, Rivers. He doesn't, of course, the Colts, I guess just in general, don't spend a lot of money in free agency. We do a good job of repaying our guys for some of the most part, so there is a spending factor that does happen there for sure. But again, he doesn't necessarily go out for the big spenders. So I know, was Cam Bynum a major free agency like dollar guy as well? But he did sign, I guess, $15 a year. Hey, what's a good contract, Chad? 4 for $60? So I guess now that he's getting picks on Tua in week 1, it's like, oh, you know, all pro, it's going to be an amazing season. But he was a Pro Bowler as well, too. So we've been looking for some secondary help, you know, some corner help, but some safety help for sure as well, too. And him being a little bit more of that deep coverage guy, I think Nick Cross and some of those safeties can kind of play a little bit more versatile, and he can kind of handle some of the more coverage stuff because he is pretty rangy for sure. So he might, again, he's this is an exciting pick, exciting signing, Chad. Good to see Ballard still got the free agency board still works every now and then. I don't know if you want to have the GM, it's like, okay, every 6 years is a good free agency signing, but we got one, Chat. I think Bynum will be a good impact player for us on defense. And Moody does get the kick to go here in the fourth quarter, 9:42, so it's 10-10 for the Seahawks-Niners game. You know, Purdy, like we're saying, he's getting stats and moving the offense, but you got to get this team in the end zone at some point as well, too. A touchdown would be nice. But, again, I think, you know, like, I can be honest, Chat, like, I guess, you know, hot take, we can be honest. But you can also check the tapes about where we were at in the offseason as well, too. We wanted Arch Manning. And I guess, you know, we wanted, obviously, what we thought Arch, you know, Arch Manning, we're not being like, oh, we're giving up at this point. You know, if you need a little bit of time to develop as a player, that's okay. We're not, we can be patient and wait for the next draft. I guess it is what it is. You know, we're going to be too good this year anyways with Daniel Jones, so we're not even going to be in the Arch Manning conversation. But, you know, again, that's just the type of guy we wanted in a, you know, as a selfish football fan, you know, in theory, not even Arch Manning, but do you want the the generational talent at quarterback that's going to be like the surefire thing, you know, Arch Manning, Andrew Luck, you know, obviously the guys the Colts have had in the past as well. But, you know, do you want that surefire type of guy? Obviously you do. But also, you know, that would have been fun to have the lineage there, and he seemed like a fun type of mobile pocket passer type player. But again, maybe being just a little wait and see on this quarterback class, I'd be okay if we're winning games. And I think there's good, you know, would I be bummed out if we didn't get the number 2 pick in the draft and missed out on like Caleb Downs? I guess the way they got him going 5 here right now. And, you know, Sellers will be interesting to see throughout this year as well too. And I don't know if Sellers would be as good year 1 as like Cam Ward. I guess we'll have to see how he progresses throughout the season, because I think Cam Ward's a little bit, you know, he played a couple of years in college as well too. So I think, and again, just the way that the hype build up over training camp, it's like, oh man, he's right there as a passer, maybe even a couple steps forward than we thought as well. But he could be, he may be our new guy, Chat, our new number 1 as well. I don't know. We'll have to, I guess, sit down and update the board. But, you know, some of these high-end defensive talents and other prospects would, of course, be great to have as well. But where do they have us at right now in Tankathon? Hey, yo, I don't see our team. Are we good, Chat? 32? We're going to win the Super Bowl? Whoa, shout out Tankathon. Is he listening to the pod? Maybe he's a fan, Chat, and he's just giving us a, you know, helping us out. Or did we make a trade with the Chiefs? What happened? Where's the Chiefs pick at? 10? Did the Chiefs get a pick swap, or is he messing with us, Chad? He's the Rem and Sam pod swap? Hey, yo, the Chiefs at 10, the Colts at 32. This hasn't happened since we've been friends, Chad. Hey, yo, this is crazy. It's Sonny Styles, and we're gonna get an Ohio State linebacker, Chad. He's clearly trolling at this point. He's clearly trolling. He's got 2 Ohio State guys on either side of the pick. He's got Carnell Tate, Sonny Styles, and Max Clare at 3 picks in a row, and the Colts got the middle of the Ohio State sandwich. Hey, pause. But that's a troll, Chat. Tankathon, you know, stick to the real board. Hey, yo, I want to see what the actual rankings are. This is crazy, Chat. I hate that. Oh, you know, is there a Michigan guy in this range? Can we just take the future rights to Bryce Underwood now? I don't know. That might be good value at 32 at the end of the first round. But where's the first Michigan player on the board, Chat? Maybe we're a future draft or 2. Oh, Nick Harbor, though, in the second round's not bad. That's kind of fun. So what do we have? Nick Harbor and Sonny Styles? Hey, you know, maybe 32 is not bad, Chat. It's a deep draft. We're in on it. Oscar Delp at tight end of the 3rd. Chat, Ballard, he knows Ballard. Ballard's going to be taking a tight end of the 3rd. Make no mistake, D'Angelo Pons from Indiana sounds like he's going to be sounds like a Pro Bowler, Chat. I mean, you know, Amari Farrell from Indiana as well, too. Just secondary guys. You know, you just got to draft secondary guys. It is what it is. But Zaquie Wheatley and Nick Anderson's good as well. I mean, 3 for 17, I guess, hasn't had a great start to the season. But he is talented. So Nick Anderson and Nick Harbor would be a crazy duo. But I don't know if you'd double up that much on receivers. Xavier Scott going 89. Maybe we trade up a little bit. I don't know. But, yeah, chat, I don't know. Get the Ohio State guys. Maybe they go higher, chat. They're playing pretty good right now. It is what it is. I'm not seeing a couple of Oregon guys up here. Not seeing enough of the team that seems to be cooking everybody. A couple of Clemson guys? Hey, yo. Yeah, take a thought. We're going to need an update here. Get a Michigan guy in the mix as well. And get the Colts back at 10. I mean, the Chiefs might not be 32, but I don't know if Daniel Jones is going to be winning the Super Bowl. I guess, impressive day from the Colts over. So, wait, where's Miami? 6? Yeah, so if it was updated today, they probably would be. No, the Saints wouldn't still be number 1 at this point. Caden Proctor to Miami, chat. Hey, yo. That would be... I don't know how Miami fans would feel about that. I guess he is still 6 overall, but again, I don't know if this is updated based on the season this year so far. We'll just have to see. But, yeah, shout out. There may be some decency at for the Colts this year. And also, we were, of course, in the game unveiling the Ballard in the Ring of Fame. R.I.P. He did pass away in the offseason, and there was some extra motivation for especially the Week 1 game as well, too, in the home opener there. But I'm sure that motivation will be there for the season. And again, you see some good coaching and maybe just some quarterback rhythm play, I guess. I don't even check. We had Anthony Richardson, last year? And then Minshew 2 years ago? I don't even remember Minshew on that team. And then Matt Ryan as well. And Minshew had 3,300 yards for the Colts, chat. Hey, yo. Who else was on anybody? We have anybody else? Matt Ryan the year before? We didn't go into the season with Minshew as the starter, did we? Hey, yo. That is tough for Steichen. So it was Richardson and Minshew. And Minshew had 3,300 yards and 15 touchdowns, 9 picks. I mean, again, we were, I guess, just so locked in on... and he was a Pro Bowler that year. Hey, yo, chat. We had a Pro Bowl quarterback in 2023. Never mind, we had a guy. Garner Minshew. Jim Bob Cooter as the offensive coordinator. Is he still there as our OC? Let's see, chat. 2025... Oh, yeah, and we have Lou Anarumo as the defensive coordinator. We're locked in, chat. We got a staff. We got a quarterback. We're back. I sent Sam a post about this guess the lineup thing that was like it had the Colts logo on the quarterback spot, the receiver spot, and the tight end spot. And it was like, oh, Chad, this, it was like 2000. It wasn't too. A lot of people were like, oh, 2006, 2007. It's like, well, tight end Dallas Clark would have been probably first team All-Pro a little bit more after that. In that 09 season, he was really cooking as well, too. And there was a Titans running back, so it was like, okay, that's probably the Andre Johnson season as well. If anything's going to give it away. It's one of the first seasons you think about, of course. Titans running back, first team All-Pro in recent history. But then, it wasn't Freeney. It was, I think Mathis was first team All-Pro for the Colts on defense that year as well. There's just like 4 Colts logos on this lineup, and it's like, oh, chat, the good old days. We only won one Super Bowl in that run. But we still had great guys and competitive teams. And would love to go back to that era. But, we're back, chat. Hey, yo, Week 1, Daniel Jones, Tyler Warren, Michael Pittman, and Latu. Latu had a pick today. I mean, that's pretty crazy. Again, I don't know if he had Nick Cross had a sack, and our defensive backs, Nick Cross and Kenny Moore had a sack, and Ebicom had a sack. Hey, yo, shout out. And then Latu had a pick. So, a little bit backwards there. No sacks from the pass rushers outside of Ebicom. But just seeing him make impact plays is good as well, too. So, shout out, fun Week 1 win. We'll definitely, take the excitement of the first, I guess breaking the 11-year cycle of winning or losing in Week 1 is definitely kind of fun as well. I don't know what it means for the rest of the season. And I don't even know if I should be upset about us, again, losing out on potential draft picks or, be happy that the team might be competent. But it is, again, just fun to win as well, too. So I guess you can't be mad at the end of the day. But we do have Denver next week, Tennessee, LA, Vegas, the Raiders, the Cardinals. So you don't know. I mean, again, we could be 2-4, 3-3 in Week 6 as well. Feisty. Denver is still looking a little bit more explosive high end than maybe we are today. So we'll see. Again, at Denver is going to be tough for our boy Danny Dimes. Tennessee, that is just a good matchup there. So those could be two, again, maybe a notch above Indy-type teams, even though, again, Indy's the best team in the league after Week 1. It'll be fun to see what the overall PFF grades are for this week as well, too. Because it could be like, maybe if it's like kind of mid-grades, it could be interesting But again, with the way the performance is, you probably just have to grade it as at least really, really good. But the Raiders looked pretty good today as well, too. So there isn't necessarily somewhere you're like, okay, they should be, locking in a win here. Miami, just because of the way we maybe thought the season would go, it wouldn't necessarily be surprising for it to just start like that in week 1. And that is what has happened. But shout out to Bobby Slowick for being the coach in a couple weeks. That'll be exciting for the Slowick family for him to get that job and him to achieve that dream. We can't wait. Or I guess if somebody else takes over as the interim as well too. But we still like McDaniels, chat. The second job. And like we were saying in sort of the week 1 of college with the Belichick hype and the Dion hype a couple years ago, I don't know if Mike McDaniels gets necessarily like the full day of ESPN coverage going into the Mike McDaniel college debut, but I think that would be a fun way to get his name back in the mix as well too. And I like having I don't know, Che, is it just I don't mean to professionalize college sports. I know it's already happened enough, but I like pro coaches in college sports. It is what it is. And I like guys working their way up as well too. Like I love Sharon Moore working his way up to be the I almost said the Colts coach, and maybe he's working his way there, Chet. But to be the Michigan coach, or a guy like I'm thinking of the Cyhawk game that just happened. A guy like Matt Campbell, being the Iowa State coach, is like a guy that's been a college prospect coach for a while, and he's worked his way up through those ranks. But we mentioned the Boston College quarterback earlier, and he is also playing with Bill O'Brien as well too. So that is definitely going to benefit his ability to produce, just this season as well. And I don't remember. Maybe Bill O'Brien was there last year. I don't know how long he's been there exactly. But again, it's like Bill O'Brien had the hype for his debut at Boston College. Oh, Bill O'Brien. Michael Jordan's going to be there. But is Boston College a Jordan school? Maybe they're a different association. Oh, Chad and Purdy with another pick. A jump ball down the field. 29 is not Earl Thomas anymore. Who do we got? Hey, yo. One of the safeties was that to Jennings? A double coverage pass, probably not a good decision either way, but still 10-10. Was it tipped? No, a little pressure. Purdy kind of throwing over some taller defenders. Great attempt by the defender to go up and get that as well too. But I guess that distracted us from what we were saying. Oh yeah, Mike McDaniels. So I don't know. Again, we're not kicking him out of the league. But I think college is a good move. If he asked us, Chat, do I be an offensive coordinator or go to college? I mean, go to college for 2 years. That'd be kind of fun. Oh, Jordan Love with the slip, Chat. Hey, yo, don't blow out your ACL sliding around in week 1. All Lambeau Field, too, would be kind of brutal. 6-17, 11-point game, and 3rd and 1. So they're going to at least get a field goal here. Make this it'd still be a 2-score game, 2-touchdown game would be, a little bit more manageable. Another good stop by the Lions defense. Did he push forward there? Not quite enough, but 4th and 1. Maybe they get it. So 3rd and 9 here, Chad. Titans versus the Broncos. We've got 12:40 left in the 4th quarter. Cam Ward drops back. He finds a guy. Can he get there? Is it Ridley? Oh, Chad! Ridley breaking ankles. I think he got 8 of the 9, but still makes a highlight play. The defender was turned around. Cam Ward. 9 for 19 for 91, but he's got a moxie, Chat. Hey, yo, you're not looking at the stats. You're looking at the swagger, the plays. Again, he's maybe a couple times. It's like, is he getting it out quick enough? And 4th and 1, the Packers do go for it. You kind of think that close, even if you're in field goal range. The 2-score element of it makes it just go ahead and make it the 3-score game and try to be aggressive and get a touchdown. And that would be a long drive for the Lions. Again, you run a lot of plays, but haven't necessarily been able to get it in the end zone or convert a lot of points as well. So that is another tough sort of top-tier team performance from week 1. Ooh, Adams, Chat. Adams has looked pretty good today. And again, Adams, even if he's on it, doesn't matter what team Adams is on, he's going to take a hit that's like, oh, man, he should probably go to the concussion protocol for that. But he's back and just getting passes again. So Devontae Adams leads yards after the catch, Chat. We need a new stat, yards after concussion. What's Devontae Adams' yards after concussion? Because if I remember correctly, that other play, again, I thought that was him getting hurt on that. So 4th and 1, they go with the punt, Chat. I think a little bit too. Whoa, fumble! Chat, is that Mims? Marvin Mims with the fumble on the punt. The Titans are going to take over inside the 25, not quite the red zone, but right in scoring range, Chad. Again, down 1. They only need a field goal. Oh, Chad, I can hear the neighbors' watch party groaning from over here. Pause. Hey, yo. That's a tough turnover. You don't give Bo Nix an opportunity. There's still a lot of a fourth quarter left. And Josh Jacobs does get the touchdown there. Ooh, chat, Lions fans, not happy. After that, it's going to be a 3-score game as we hit midway through the fourth quarter. But I don't even remember. Oh, Mike McDaniel. So whichever college, he goes to is going to be fun. But that'd be a fun move, chat. NIL, get these professional guys in college is a good thing in my mind. And then we also have sacked on 2nd and 8, chat. Massive loss. Elias, is that the linebacker for Denver? Hey, yo, chat, it's going to be 3rd and 20 plus at this point. 3rd and 22. Hopefully they're still in field goal range. This is just going to be a field goal range type play. Again, field goal still gets you in the lead, so that's a big turnover regardless, even though you would have liked to seen the Titans offense do a little bit more with that at this point. But Commanders versus Giants, Commanders not necessarily the most, again, dominant win. Divisional game, tough opponent in terms of the defensive line, defensive front that they were facing for New York. I guess, chat, we should, 3rd and 22. Okay, they're going to take a timeout there. 3rd and 9 for the Rams right now, and the Niners are still tied as well. So who would have thought Packers-Lions, chat, the most decisive of the late window games? Seems like the Packers are going to take that one right now, unless the Lions, of course, a little late effort here as they kind of kick into gear with the game starting to get out of reach. But Daniels, 19 of 30, 11 for 68 on the ground as well, too, is another big factor of the game. You could really see the athleticism with him rolling out and extending some of the plays. Again, a little bit, some of the throws we'll have to see, but at the end of the day, he was still feeling like that guy that on 3rd downs and in big moments is still going to be the reliable guy that you would need and still the big playmaker. And, oh, chat, again a sack for the Titans. So what a possession by the Broncos defense to have that special teams give up the punt and then to go and knock the Titans out of field goal range. The Titans are going to have to punt it again. Hey, yo, so, I don't know if it's going to work out worse for the Denver. They're pinned more in Titans territory, but, sigh of relief there. You don't give up any points. You're still going to have the lead because I don't think the Titans are going to be able to do anything with this 4th and 35 that they're about to face. So, yeah, I think Daniels, if anything, what's the bar for him, confirming in week 1 that he's the 5th best quarterback in the league or wherever he's at, in those rankings. Hurts as well, too, obviously. I guess, are we knocking Burrow out of the mix? Hey, yo, Chad, after kind of a tough one. I guess if you don't have an offensive line. But they did, have a little run game with Merritt as well, too, at times. So there was, again, with as good as New York's front is, I thought that Washington held up pretty well. And Wilson, the stats don't look good for Wilson, but even the way that, Dayball calling the plays, and I think that the way that the Giants' weapons were running around, like we'd have to go watch the All-22 for that, but it did feel like there were times when it was like, oh, is there a guy there? And he kind of didn't go for it, or maybe an open, just kind of holding it a little bit too long with some open guys that he didn't quite get. So that's, of course, I think going to help maybe with the Jackson Dart stuff if we go watch the tape and be like, if there's opportunities that the quarterback is missing, that's different than there's no opportunities for the quarterback to create, because that's, of course, where the balance comes in. If these young guys, like, let's let the veteran guy just get knocked around for a little bit. It's like we know that the offense is not really going to be in position to benefit a younger player like that. But again, if there is actually some times where like the receivers are in, like, I mean, it felt like at some point in the game, how many targets? Yeah, Neighbor had 12 targets. Robinson had 8. So, maybe there's a little bit of a drop-off. I think Bellinger's pretty good as well, too. Like, obviously, he's pretty serviceable tight end. Slayton, only 1 target. Tyrone Tracy at running back. Scatterby, like, maybe there's some check-down potential there as well. So, again, you are kind of relying on those 2 guys, but those 2 guys are good. And you do have a bit of a run game. And like we were saying, the defense can at least get some pressure and maybe be, a little bit of a life difficult maker for some of these offenses game to game. So if Wilson is going to be kind of holding him back a little bit, at least, again, you can put in Dart and go, just we'll see what happens. And maybe there is actually a spot for him to find success more so than just we have no other options. And let's get exciting by bringing in the rookie quarterback. So the Seahawks get the field goal, 3.5 minutes left, 13-10. Purdy still got a chance, chat, but 2 for 29, 2 picks. Purdy and Bo Nix, a tough late window stretch for these guys. Of course, Jared Goff as well too. Only 1 pick, but 6 points. You know, even behind those guys in that stat. In 3rd and 2 here, the pressure stands tall in the pocket, but just overthrows Laporta. And you kind of see him a little, even though, again, kind of staying and hanging in there, a little just kind of maybe thrown off by the pressure. And oh, Chad, looking over at the live stream, wait a second, the 4th and 2, the red zone, a play behind. But the 4th and 2 does not go their way as well. Speaking of pressure, Goff is about to take the sack right here. Do they bring in Parsons again? I think that was the tackle kind of stunning in. And oh, the tackle, the double kind of wraparound, but it was 95 that was able to get in. Is Wyatt still there at 95? Hey, yo, chat. Maybe what happens when you start like knowing teams from, or knowing guys from like 2 years ago. It's like, it's obviously still that guy. But there is the sack now on, hey, pause, on the red zone live stream as well. But yeah, I thought this was a good win against a competitive roster, divisional roster that a lot of people were kind of thinking maybe week 1 could be a little bit of a trap game. And Daniels was really productive, and there was good production. You know, Deebo Samuel as well too as a wide receiver 1. I know McLaurin is kind of the guy, but again, that's a good core as well now too. I don't know, Wandale and Malik Neighbors or Deebo Samuel and McLaurin. I mean, that's a debate, chat. Hey, yo, Giants, of course, have maybe a little bit more talent than we think. Okereke, just lighting it up, chat. 16 tackles, probably on pace to be the leader again. Has been up in the mix there when he is playing full seasons. So, you know, I have to go a little bit more into the highlights before we start criticizing Russ too much. But Daniels, even with a little bit more, again, of the, not necessarily the highest completion percentage, will look the other way for that. It's okay. It's Shane Daniels. We're biased. It is what it is. I guess 98.3 on the rating is not bad. You know, no turnovers is definitely going to help with that as well, too. And does QB rating include running, or does QBR include running? His QBR was not great. But that, if that includes the running, you think that would help it out a little bit. Maybe there's a sack that he did have in there. Here, let's go to the Giants real quick and see what we have listed for that. Yeah, Burns did have 2, and then Carter and Thibodeau both had a half as well. So, yeah, see, they were still getting pressure to him as well, and I think they still were able to find scores and have good possessions as well. A deep pass from Purdy to Pearsall! Oh, chat. Purdy airing it out. 21 for 30. Again, his only incompletions are interceptions. I feel like, is that the Shanahan offense? But Purdy is a little like that just for his career as well, and just the big swings. But that was a great down the field throw, chat. The pump fake was that Wolin on coverage. Pearsall getting behind the corner with the double move. Good double move. Wolin kind of stumbled on the track almost, more so than the double move. But regardless, great play. Gets him into the field goal territory. And again, they only need a field goal here to at least tie. Though, again, we have to respect the Seahawks special teams. You almost want a touchdown at this point with the way those have played out there. Follow that up with the screen pass. So Shanahan goes right back to whatever, of course, his next setup is. Whatever his next deep shot pause is. But, you know, that whole sequence of events worked perfectly to get him to that play there. Or he's just running an easy play to get him to the 2-minute warning. Because that's what's about to happen. It's about to run into that there. So we've got San Francisco down 3. Like we said, in scoring range. Shout out Commanders, 1-0. Division, of course, with the Cowboys taking at least a divisional loss there. Helps them early for playoff stuff. We still expect them to be behind the Eagles overall. But it could get a little close. They might have some easier games. Packers could be tough, but Raiders, Falcons, Chargers, Bears, Cowboys, you know, Chiefs. At Chiefs Monday night could be a little. Is that a mantle game, chat? Do we call that the mantle game on Monday night, October 27th? Who knows? But yeah, Daniels looked really productive, and he's got a little bit of a easier matchup than Stroud does because Stafford, again, a little bit more confident. The Rams are just, I think, a little bit more of a threat than the Giants overall. But defensively, I don't know if the Rams are necessarily more terrifying than the Giants. They might be, but again, it's the strength of the defensive fronts. So you would think the Giants have a better defensive front, but the Rams have been flying around today, and that could be just the Texans' offensive line, part of that trading Tunsil to Washington. So Washington probably getting the benefits of the extra protection pause there than of course, Texans would be, but they've looked just really slow today. And there's been a little bit of a methodical thing with them as well too. Stroud can be, of course, a big play quarterback. We saw it at Ohio State. But there was a little bit of a work their way down the field element here in Houston the last couple of years. But it's almost, kind of too slow to not much happening at this point. So 6-24, Detroit is down to Green Bay. Like we were saying, that's looking tough. And Green Bay is driving. So we may be just running the clock out on that one. Bo Nix at the 20. With another field goal opportunity. Is that Harvey or is that Dobbins? Oh, Chet. Touchdown, Broncos. I think that's Dobbins into the end zone. His first score of the year. He didn't get a score earlier, but we got the rushing touchdown from a few yards out. I don't know if the run game has been totally locked in here. I guess we could check the stats before we start just guessing on everything that's happening. But still scoring in that red zone area, being a threat for some of the play action type stuff. Harvey killing it, 6 for 70. Yeah, Dobbins 10 for 45 is not bad. Again, is it elite? But at least, 4 to 5 yards a carry being productive is, I think, kind of what you want him in there for as well, too. Because I think kind of Harvey at the end of the year might trend more to being the RB1, getting more carries if, he really starts to take over. But Dobbins can be kind of the serviceable in-between if you need him type guy. Purdy on the slant. The little slide forward by the receiver for the first down. Nobody touched him down. But Pollard still 17 for 60. I thought, there's a chance that he could be a productive fantasy guy this year, like we were saying. Because Cam Ward, again, just an increase at the quarterback position from Will Levis. Who knows to what levels, of course, we'll see him be as a franchise guy. But you would assume that if the offense is better, Pollard could still be the same guy this year. Like, he wasn't even, again, one of the best running backs in the league. He was really good. But just an improved offense with more opportunity. And his sort of low nature. Hey, one of the only kind of lone running backs, but been kind of healthy and really productive. Again, is he one of the 5 best running backs in the league? And that's what we thought Tony Pollard would be if he'd be a number 1 overall guy. Who knows if he's hit those levels. But he's still been a really above average, productive, but with not a lot of competition running back. And today, so far, 17 for 60. And maybe that's a little touchdown dependent as well, too. But what's he had to receive? 29 receiving yards. So at least he got, 4 extra fantasy points there. So he's at least a double-digit guy. If he's, again, probably not being drafted as an RB2 guy this year. I don't even know if he was being drafted. So if you got just Tony Pollard on your bench or on your flex and he's like 10 points, kind of mild production just based on this, he's going to be due for a touchdown in some easier matchups, and some good weeks are definitely going to be, some better weeks are definitely going to be something that follows for sure. So Stafford just crosses the 60,000 yard threshold, 60,003 yards, top 10 all times. The all-time great Matthew Stafford. Hey, thank goodness he got the Super Bowl chat. Really helps that legacy down the field. Oh, chat, Allen the tight end not able to bring that in. Was that 2nd and 5 or was it 1st and 5 off a false start situation? I don't know there, but Purdy 2nd and 9 at the 10-yard line in the red zone underneath to McCaffrey is going to put them inside the 5-yard line. So 3rd down, do they score? Do they go for the touchdown? We'll see if they try to run it here with McCaffrey or if they just keep with the Purdy lead at this point. And yeah, they just showed a stat. Denver in general is, I guess pivoting to that game, 5-1 in their last 6 season openers. So they're, of course, known to maybe get off to a little bit of a slow start as well, too. So them being on top of Tennessee in this way is a little bit encouraging. But I guess it is only 8 as well, too. So that was 1 point, of course. Do you go for 2 in that situation? I guess if you make it 8, they have to go for 2 and you trust your defense to probably get a stop. But if you go for 2 and miss it, you're up 7. Oh, Purdy! Who's number 88, chat? Purdy threw another interception ball. This time Jake Tongs? Tongs, chat. Hey, yo, I don't know what kind of Tongs crazy reference we can make there, but, you know, he went up and got that one, chat. Over the safety, over the defender. Oh, Kittle out. I didn't even realize, minute 30 left in the game, I didn't realize Kittle was out there. Hey, yo, should they just keep running white tight ends out there? Kittle's got to be out there at some point. But getting the jump ball catch like Kittle, and 16-13, the field goal attempt here can make it a 4-point game. Seattle's going to need a touchdown, chat. Sam Darnold, he's got enough time. And they have a touchdown. Definitely a chance. But Purdy, the clutch factor, chat, it's an ugly game. Honestly, a couple of Purdy's turnovers probably have kept him in the game. And Seattle has been really shown a competency and a toughness. But there definitely has been a little bit of a little bit of a lack of explosiveness. And we'll see if that is the 49ers defense keeping them in check a little bit. As well, 2 divisional matchup. You know these are going to be kind of hard-fought games. And JSN can still be, of course, a really good again. He could be 115 catches this year and have a lot of production. But he is a kind of a steady production type receiver. And they do have a good run game. But do they have consistency with health there as well, too? You know, maybe there's a little bit of question mark. You know, 10 points is not great in week 1. But definitely able to build from that going forward. Parsons, chat, gets the sack on Jared Goff. Another one we put out of the bet slip. I just didn't know the health. You know, you can't bet on that week 1. There's got Parsons. There's got to like Parsons and Hutchinson and these guys. Maybe they just start going to minus 250 every week and it just becomes bad odds. But I feel like for a sack, then that was the thing as well. I thought maybe week 1 it'd be like maybe Hutchinson could be like plus odds for a sack. He was like minus 120 to get a sack. It's like, okay, I guess, you know, that is Hutchinson. If he plays, he's probably going to get to the quarterback. But I don't know if that's going to, again, decrease too much. Maybe it would get to like the minus 140, 150 range at some point. But you can't start going minus 180 for Hutchinson to get a sack, can you? Maybe you can. You definitely can't start going 2-1, chat, minus 200. Hey, yo, then it's definitely out of the market at that point. 3rd and 16. Tennessee, again, down, like we were, I guess, going back to earlier with the situational stuff. I think, again, the way you trust your defense, you probably just maximize the amount of points Tennessee has to score as easily as you can. But that is an interesting, you know, if you miss it, you are up 7. You do force them to go for 2 and at least try to win or tie. Versus if you make the 2, then they have to score twice at that point. In the fourth quarter, I guess 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter. So twice would be a little bit tough. But you do probably assume that you would get the ball back as well if they did, you know, try to tie and go for 2. And you would only need a field goal at that point as well, too. The game would just be tied at the worst. So they can't take the lead. You take the extra point, and as long as I guess they can't take the lead, that's the biggest thing at the end of the day, right, chat? Do we go for the win, or do we go for they can't take the lead? I don't know. I guess I've never really thought about it in that way. I know it's always a aspect of the score, I guess. But again, it's like, do we close the game out here and leave them with an opportunity? And maybe you don't close the game out if they can tie it up. But at least you can't lose it, and maybe that's the problem. It's like, I don't know if I'm a play-it-safe type guy like that. You know, just win the game is always kind of fun. But if if they can't take the lead, that is something as well, too. So Stafford on 1st and 10. I don't know if they call that a fumble. I think that's going to be incomplete. The receiver, I don't think quite was able to turn upfield and make a football-type catch with that. So I think they're going to get another opportunity here on the 10. But speaking of big plays, Chad, am I wrong? JSN immediately up the sideline. Sam Darnold, oh! He gets him into the red zone, a 40-yard play. Look at that, Chad, the double move right up the sideline. Hey, yo. He said, remember I had 300 yards in the Rose Bowl, Chad? Hey, yo. That's crazy. We got to go check the numbers here for our guy JSN before we start doubting him. Sam Darnold's ability to push it down the field as well is still there. Finally they get a shot as well. 1:02 left. They still need a touchdown. Oh, and offsides by San Francisco. The fourth quarter defense of the Niners once again. Salah, lock in. This is where they need you. Bryce Huff, chat. Oh, tough. I don't know if, did we say D. Winters? They had D. Winters on the screen, so I don't know if we said his name there. But if we did, sorry, D. Winters, it's not you. It's Bryce Huff, who, good player as well, too. You expect another reason why maybe the 49ers defense has been feisty again. They got some good value there with some of the guys. But 1st and 5, needing a touchdown. Would Purdy get enough time to operate? The Niners do have all 3 timeouts. So with them not needing a field goal, like, you don't necessarily need to take a timeout here to start saving clock, do you? That's a tough one, chat. Hey, yo. That's a tough call. Maybe you make the Seahawks take a timeout, but they're going to let it run. 2nd and 4. You don't want to necessarily give them extra time and start game planning and scheming up stuff to get them a touchdown here. But you're going to need some time to operate as well, too. Oh, the ball slips out. Is it a fumble? Bosa, chat. Speaking of Garrett closing games in the 4th quarter. We see it for the Niners as well, too. 4th quarter pass rushers. Big-time closers. Sam Darnold with the strip sack fumble. 36 seconds left. Oh, man, chat. We were wondering if that was going to be it. Hey, yo, was it going forward at all? Is that a pass? Bosa right on Lucas. Oh, chat, throws him right out of the way. Oh, it's Lucas that knocks it out. Oh, chat, Bosa throws the lineman into the football. And Ballard. Why are we talking about Chris Ballard? Hey, maybe because he's watching this game, be like, Sam Darnold's up next. But Darnold just is definitely has the ball still going back at that point. Pause. And that is unfortunately going to be a fumble. Niners with the lead, chat. Only 1 timeout. Yeah, 36 seconds. San Francisco's going to get the win. So we can lock that one in for San Fran. We locked it in for, of course, Detroit over Green Bay. Detroit fans. Green Bay over Detroit. It is what it is. A moment of happiness there if you guys win an alternate timeline. But Rams versus Texans, 9-14. 4 minutes left here in the 4th quarter. We'll see if Stroud can put together a clutch drive. The Rams defense with an opportunity to step up here. Nick Chubb has kind of been, I guess, their number 1 offensive threat guy. Again, the times I've seen him with Agumbawale in the backfield here, he's been more of a blocking threat and has really held up there. But it seems like Chubb, they're at least giving him rushes and throwing him passes as well, too. Oh, who do we got there? Foreman? No, that's still Chubb, chat. What am I saying other guys for? Hey, yo. We got Chubb with an actual gain. I don't know. Are we behind? Let me see. Oh, yeah, we're way behind, chat. Hey, yo, we're like a minute behind. I guess they're still running it with Nick Chubb at this point. Red zone, catch up. Okay, there we go. It says 4:04 now. Okay, wait, now are we actually ahead? I think, okay, now, 2:31. Okay, we're back. So we don't want to spoil that game, chat. We're going back to Titans versus Broncos in the background. It is what it is. But nothing has changed. Yep, Nick Chubb is carrying right now, chat, and he looks good. Hey, yo, Chad, he's running tough right now. I guess we have to go back and check the stats, even though the stats are going to be a minute ahead, and he's going to have more yards than even we're watching right now. But basically getting close to what he could have for an entire day. 13 for 60, Chad. 60's not crazy, but 13 carries is not the most usage. It's 4.5 yards a carry. A long of 13 as well. Hey, yo, pause. Is he going to necessarily rip off a run? Are you going to have the number 1 most dynamic run game in the league? But you have the ability to keep the ball going forward and run the clock here. And in this type of 4th quarter where you could run the ball you could have the ball on a long drive, score a touchdown, and put pressure on the Rams to have a quick offensive possession, you're going to need the run game to kill that clock as well. Or if they had the lead in this type of situation, they're trying to run out the clock. Obviously, Nick Chubb is proving that with these kind of little chunks as well, too, that he's picking up, he can keep the ball moving and keep the chains moving in this type of way. Oh, chat. I was going to say they're going to bring out the chains, but RIP the chain gang. It's no longer there, chat. Hey, yo. AI. We didn't know it was going to take out the chain gang, but the virtual measurement is, I think, up for the Broncos Titans games. And they still, I guess, place it. I guess we didn't watch any preseason to see how they did this. I thought it maybe would have been like a tennis situation where it is literally virtual. Oh yeah, here we go. It is virtual. So, but it's still measured with the football on the field. Yeah, it really wasn't close. You could tell just based on, the yellow line on the broadcast that it wasn't going to be close enough. The chain gain it would have been way off on that one. Not the chain game wouldn't have messed up. Like the chains it wouldn't have been close. Like they would have been running it out. You'd have been like they wouldn't even needed it at this point. It's almost a foot off, but way off, chat. Ayo, but it's fourth down, so it is a turnover on downs at that point. Good hold up by the Titans. Stroud under pressure, chat, gets the ball batted down. Those Rams defenders, of course, the activity continues. But Stroud supposedly, I guess supposedly, he has been good under pressure throughout the course of his career. That's one of the highlights of his game. So to see him kind of, routed by that early in the year is definitely interesting and a credit to the Rams. Pollard not able to get much there on the running attempt by the Broncos. 3rd and 11, chat, right before the 2-minute warning. Speaking of Stroud, he's going to definitely have to drop back here, and they're probably going to, send a decent rush with an 11-yard need. Barely gets it off, chat, before the play clock expires. The beautiful touch pass. Oh, chat! It might have gotten picked. The defender might have been out of bounds. There's a flag. Hey, they're going to bail out Stroud with the roughing the passer, chat? I don't know if they can do that. 1:57. We're going to go to the 2-minute warning right after this. It is roughing the passer, chat. There was 3 guys, headed toward him right as he threw that pass, and it's like, there's a good chance one of them is definitely going to get roughing the passer. It is what it is. Oh, chat, Turner. Let's get him on the replay here and see a good charge at the defender, or at Stroud. I mean, he leads a little bit with his helmet. He hits him kind of right under the shoulder, the part where the shoulder kind of connects to the bicep area, right lower shoulder, upper bicep, arm, kind of in the torso, but just kind of led with the crown of his helmet. So I guess there is that part of it to the penalty, but that's a classic keep the drive alive for the offense 3rd down pass interference call. Ooh, Cam Ward on 3rd and 10 misses Ridley barely, but it was a good look. A franchise type miss, chat. Ayo. I don't know if you can have those, but if you can have a franchise quarterback incompletion, Cam Ward just threw one. Ooh, the Lions might have scored. I don't know, the bettors. I don't know if they're going to get close enough for the over-under on this to make people happy, even with the loss. Because the Packers were favored, but I think it was starting to get a little bit closer there as well. Getting a little bit more favored on the line as we got a little bit closer into the week. So I know at 21 now, they're a little bit difficult to make up even with one score. So maybe alt spread stuff. And that's a good catch as well too. Hey, I was just watching the see if he got his feet down on the replay. I wasn't even, and they were kind of showing it after he got the catch as well too. But the one-handed grab. Hey, that might be catch of the day early on. There's been a couple of the highlights haven't been anything. They showed James Conner with the stiff arm pause move on one of the defenders early on, and I think that play got ruled back by a penalty. So that one as well too. We'll see if that one is ruled a completion. I guess it's called on the field incomplete. So wait a second. He got the 1 foot down. I guess go back to the super slow-mo for that second foot. Now we were watching the arm that time. Pause because the catch was super impressive. Regardless, hopefully it lives on a YouTube way. The Lions will post it on their Instagram. We'll see it over there. Great catch. A picture of it right before the feet go down. It is a touchdown, chat. It'll live on. Let's go. Record it in the record books. Tesla? Oh, chat. I think he might have spelled his name weird there to throw some people off, but that's how it reads, chat. It looks a lot like Tesla. Hey, Tesla? Can we get, we might have to unmute Jim Nance and see what we're going with here, but we do get a ruling as a completion. Maybe they just do it for the sake of the highlight, chat. That's a close one. 1st foot down. I don't know if he did get the second heel down in time as they go to the super slow-mo with, maybe lay off the squats, chat. He would have got that one in. But regardless, they get him the ruling. So 1st and 10, Stroud after the penalty, after the 2-minute warning. The blitz, he's got another free rusher, and this time is it Ogunbowale in the receiving game? So once they go kind of 2-minute other side of the field, Chubb, good job of moving the chains and, keeping the run game alive there for a second. But Ogunbowale in some of these passing situations does be the guy. And that is a good balance, Again, I don't know if the run game's going to be a strength, but maybe it works. Stroud is just, avoiding a defender every time. Stroud, I think, does he have a basketball background? The jump shots, the playing around a defender. I mean, I don't know how the Texans can the Texans simulate the fact that they have no offensive line in practice? They're like, okay, we're just gonna practice without an offensive line because it's not gonna be impactful during the game. So just get used to it now. Oh, chat! Speaking of Agumbawale, oh no! Our guy Jesse might have fumbled, chat. Somebody just laid the smack on him. Pause. Hey, yo, that's crazy. But was that, I guess Parkinson wouldn't have been on the field to get that one. There's too much celebration right now to figure out who made the play, but he got the reception over the middle. It was Fisk? Fisk with the recovery, maybe? He's the one trying to keep the football, so maybe that's a fumble type play. But massive, oh, chat. A beautiful punch. It was the linebacker, and yeah, Fisk with the recovery. That was a great recovery as well too. He was a guy at the combine that was like testing athletically and all the stuff really well. And you see him like flying around on the ground there, outdoing the lineman, just barely for the loose ball on the ground. Pause. Yeah, that was a great punch, chat, by the linebacker. Shout out. I mean, tough for our guy Gumbawale right after we were giving the running game credit. But a minute 43 and 3 timeouts. It's going to be close for them getting this back. They're going to need to stop Kyron Williams here. He falls forward for about 5. That's just tough, chat. They could have got him for about 3 there, but going to give him a nice, manageable second down if that counts. Tesla, chat. Okay, double A on the name, so it's Tesla, I think is how you say it. Or Scott Hansen was just really excited there on that play. But yeah, chat, maybe the only reliable Tesla we have right now is this receiver for the Lions. We'll just have to see how he continues to play over the rest of the year. Again, they have a stacked room, so I don't know if he's in because of the minutes, or was there an injury? Is Amon-Ra hurt, chat? I don't know. But hey, should we, speaking of receivers, we talk about where's Mike McDaniel going to go next. Where's Tyreek Hill going to go next? Because he was yelling around on the sideline there and did not look happy. And we know when the receivers don't look happy, they will make it known, chat. Not just on the sideline, but probably to the front office. There will probably be a trade request at some point in the season as well, too. And he's still a valuable guy. And I think the Dolphins gave up a lot for him. You know, first and a second and something else. Like, the Chiefs got a good package. And, again, they were able to rebuild their defense and win another Super Bowl based on the draft picks that they got there on the Tyreek Hill trade. Because did they get McDuffie and Karlaftis both as a byproduct of that trade? They might have. Again, both those guys have been really valuable for him as young players. But you could almost get him for not a first-round pick now. I don't know if value would be, you know, we're like seeing Tyreek Hill go somewhere for like a 5th-round pick. If it's that kind of case, it might be based on the season he had last year. Again, he could resurge his value where it's like, oh, well, now we can trade him for a 3rd and a 3rd and a 7th. But I could see a 5th and a 4th and a 5th for a 7th and a I don't know, a 7th maybe in Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill and a 7th for a 4th and a 5th. Something along those lines. Yeah, that might be a little too much, but yeah, who knows what NFL trade package are these days. But he could be available, and if a team really wants to turn the tables, chat, that could be this. I mean, Tyreek Hill back to the Chiefs, chat? Do we start it now? Do we just... I mean, I guess I'll DM Sam over the next over the next couple of days and ask him about it and see what he says. But we'll have a response in the Tuesday live stream. I'll ask him, does he want Tyreek Hill again? But that could be the obvious pairing. I didn't even like write that down as like, oh, you know, are we gonna see Tyreek Hill and the Chiefs this year? Hot take. But it's like I don't know how we got there, chat. You need a receiver. And there's a team that needs a receiver and a receiver that might need a team. And it just so happens that they, you know, maybe used to run around together back in the day as well, too. And that'd be really interesting if they did pair up, what that would mean for sort of new era Mahomes. Obviously, Tyreek Hill might be in a different spot in his career as well, too. But the Rams get the first down, chat. And the Rams might get the week 1 win. So did the AFC South have... I guess the Colts are going to be winning the AFC South, chat. Hey, yo, the Jags and the Colts. Is this because we bet the Texans, Titans, Jags, or Colts, Jags, or whatever as the division order? Like, it's obviously going to be that 3. So now it has to be the complete opposite. Colts, Jags, Texans, Titans, Texans, or whatever else. But great job by Stafford on the rollout. That defender almost ran into them there. I don't even think he saw him when he bootlegged back. He just got kind of lucky that he missed him or avoided him at the last second. McVay and Stafford, of course, that's a fun combo. Those guys having a good time with that last play call. And getting a win at this point in the season is important as well, too. The Texans are definitely up there for a competitive team that you would expect playoff level, a good test to start the year. 3rd and 10, 2:52. Oh, no, chat. Did the Titans just get a penalty on 3rd and 10? There's no way, chat. There's no way. 8-point game. You got to let it go. Give us a football game. What about the ratings, chat? Do the refs not care about the ratings? Oh, no. Can you pick it up? Personal foul, chat. What is that? What did he do? Did he spit on him too? What happened? Jeffrey Simmons, the best player on the defense with the most costly play, chat. Oh, man. The screen pass on 3rd and 10. The Titans all over that play. And it would have been their ball back. They would have gotten it before the 2-minute warning. They could have had a drive down 8 to tie it up. So they could still get it back with some time here, but it's going to be probably a little too difficult on that drive if they do. And that momentum-wise, of course, is pretty brutal as well. And they didn't re-show the Simmons part of the play as well. They just re-showed the tackle. It was a good tackle, definitely an aggressive drive into the ground. But they didn't flag the tackle. They flagged Simmons on something else. So was it an after the play thing? If it was some words, chat, like we're going to flag a guy on some words on a play like that, you're going to cost the guy the game over something he said. Oh, chat, like what are we doing here? We're obviously not even Titans fans. We want the Broncos we would want the Broncos to win. We'd want the AFC South to go a different direction. We don't want this is not the result we'd want, but I don't know what's going on with that play call there, or that penalty there is tough. Oh, chat, are they going to make us not watch the rest of this game? Hey, yo, chat, red zone, clutch up, give us the game. It is what it is. I think Denver, getting the extra set of downs there is going to be on their way to winning this. I guess the ESPN is in front of the broadcast here, so we could take a look. Because they are on 3rd and 5 with 2 minutes left. Ball on the Tennessee 33. So you are looking at a long 50-yard field goal here, which would make it then the 2-score game. Definitely look like it would be getting close to closing this out. Oh, do we have a top 5 plays, chat? Hey, yo. Oh, a bobbling catch by Metcalf? And we didn't even mention Metcalf. Oh, we did mention him a little bit, that some of that stuff was working with some of the slant stuff. On Gardner on that play, off of the other offensive player, bobbled it up in the air. Number 81, crossing pass, almost caught the bobble, but bobbled it back to Metcalf lying on the ground. Hey, yo, Chad, that might be, number one, just like crazy, unique type play. I guess the battle for Flacco interception did end up number 4 as well. So that one is kind of a couple of fun bounce arounds. Good, smooth transition from the offense to the defensive player there. Definitely makes that for a clean play. So that Lions touchdown is going to be the number one. That can't even be the number 1 play of the day. If it cuts the lead to 20 or whatever, you can't really have it be the number 1 play of the day unless it cuts the lead to 20 and then jump started a major comeback at some point. So we do have J.C. Horn with a one-handed interception on Trevor Lawrence early in the game before the delay, chat. Oh, Travis Hunter. I was going to say, I don't even know who was there. Travis Hunter was running around there for a second. And we didn't even mention Travis Hunter earlier on. Travis Hunter I looked before the delay, so, in the first half there. At some point, or maybe it was after when they returned, because Brian Thomas had a rushing touchdown in the game. And at that point, after the Brian Thomas rushing touchdown, I was looking at the receiving stats, and Travis Hunter only had 4 catches. It wasn't crazy, but Brian Thomas wasn't really doing much, and Strange had the most receiving yards. And it was like, hey, maybe Travis Hunter, could he lead this team in receiving yards as a rookie? I guess, that wouldn't have been totally shocking as well, too, before the season. and both those guys playing well, it could still happen. But just because Brian Thomas had such, crazy upside, definitely seemed like something that would have been a little bit of a year ahead. So, yeah, he ended up with 1 reception for 11 yards on 7 targets. So I guess this game definitely was not in the red zone. We'll have to go back and see how Lawrence was playing in this one. But Hunter, 8 targets, 6 catches for 33 yards. Definitely getting more of the easier receptions. But again, if Lawrence can't even get the ball to Thomas, it would be easier for Hunter to have those reception stops. And we were actually talking about the other day as well, too, with some friends hanging out about how this team might play out. Because, shout out, I think Billy Buckets kind of is on the two-way thing with Travis Hunter. And I'm kind of there, too. I think we'll see it this year. And again, 6 for 33. Is he going to have 1,000 yards and be a great, he'll be a great receiver, but have great stats year one? He could have, like Travis Hunter could have 800 yards, and if he has 800 yards and 2 picks, that's pretty unique. I guess even 800 yards in 1 pick is obviously fun, but if he has 800 yards, a pick, and a fumble recovery, or some version of some good stats both ways, where it's like, yeah, that was a fun, impactful third, fourth corner and a fun, impactful second receiver. Like, I think we could definitely see that version of the season for sure, and that'd be one of the most unique seasons we've ever seen in the NFL, even if it's not the Heisman version of it in the NFL, whatever. But again, he could still be their lead receiver, even though you do see Strange as well too, able to be a reliable option at the tight end for the Jags as well. So 1:45 left, 4th and 8. Oh, wait a second. Did we get a loss for yards here? What happened on the last play? So 4th and 8 on the Tennessee 36. Still probably in field goal territory, but it is getting a little bit riskier. Yeah, 3-yard loss on the run. So a little bit of a safe play at that point. I guess you don't want to risk taking the sack. We'll see where Bo Nix ended up at the end of the day. 25 for 39, 176, a touchdown and 2 picks is not ideal, chat. 12 for 25, 112 for Cam Ward. I think he made, again, he had a good composure in a really tough spot. They say, speaking of week 1 losing streaks, they say only 2 quarterbacks in this entire 21st century have won in week 1 since 2000. So it's probably not going to happen for Cam Ward. And I guess he is going to, if they don't kick a field goal here, Chad, he will cover. Hey, yo, this line close at 8.5. Whoa, can we get a line update, chat? We need, I was going to say a spread update. That'd be a little crazy. We need a line. What this line close at? ESPN Bet, where are you? We need Denver, 9.5. Hey, yo, chat. Right now, I guess, I don't know if it's automatically 7.5 right now. I never know if that's live or not, or if that's just some random other time, or if that's where it opened at, or whatever. You see, though, Tennessee in the win percentage. Still, I know Denver was kind of in the 60s to 70s all the way throughout, even with Tennessee in the lead. But still, even in the 3rd and 4th, it got a little closer there. Even Tennessee spiking up for potential wins as well, too. I think that's a pretty good week 1. They competed with a really good coach in Sean Payton, and a team that we think is going to be a really good team. And they put up good stats overall as well, too. So that's not too bad. 13 for 130. Oh, speaking of the penalties, chat, they were killer today. 13 for 133. And I guess, that Simmons one late in the game as well, too, that we just witnessed. Can't necessarily overlook that. But Lathan out with the hip. I don't know if he would have been, a major player today for him, but he still is a guy with upside that we really like on the lineup. So, did they go for the punt or did they miss the field goal? Hey, yo, all plays. Downs, they went for it on 4th down at the 36. So they're going to give Tennessee a minute to try to go 70-ish yards. No timeouts is not necessarily the easiest thing in the world. Chad, we're watching the play-by-play. 2nd and 10. Cam Ward trying to go to Ayo Manor? Eliak Ayo Manor? I think he's a rookie. I saw him in the starting lineup there today. I don't know if that's because of an injury or not, but definitely a newer name for us. So, wow, the Cam Ward clutchness factor definitely has a chance. Oh, Chet! He tried to get it to Calvin Ridley deep. I guess I don't know if he actually got the pass out. It says Benito was in there making a play. So maybe that's him pressuring and Cam Ward just, in theory, trying to get it out to Calvin Ridley there. But Yeah, Denver with a win gets the season started off strong, though maybe the Chargers and the Raiders do look like the two best teams in the AFC West. Maybe the Chargers do, chat. Maybe they do. The Raiders did look good today as well. I mean, the Patriots, we know we're going to be a feisty team at home. Vrabel is going to be a tough opponent, coach guy, to go up against week to week. He's going to be locked in. But Carroll and Geno 24 of 34, 362. So here's the stats guy, chat. A touchdown and a pick. Maybe a couple of other risky passes in there. But I think does have a little bit, I guess 4 sacks for 29. I see how that Patriots pressure did. Plus maybe some of Geno's mobility. Maybe not totally helping out there as well too. But you would hope you have a little bit more time in this Raiders offense. But his ability with Bowers, and I guess Bowers did get hurt as well too. So we'll see if he goes back healthy. Myers looked really good. 8 for 97. Jacoby Myers revenge game as well. Though he's had those in the past because, of course, Raiders Pats was that Ramondre Stevenson game. Where, of course, it was the Tuck Rule game way back in the day. But more recently, it was the Ramondre Stevenson game as well. Henderson, 5 for 27. Not getting a lot of carries in there. Only 18 carries as a team for 60 yards. 46 passes for Drake May, chat. Is that play calling? Again, 5 for 27 with a long of 14. So that's, he's got, 13 other yards there. 4 for 13. Still, okay. I feel like you got to give yourself a chance. Stevenson not really doing much as your lead carry guy. 7 for 15. Probably going to set yourself up later in the season for Henderson being more of the lead guy. But GT with the slow start as well, too. And I think the toughness of the Pats defense there definitely proven. But there was kind of a patience, him waiting for stuff to develop thing that never really worked out versus him just committing and charging through guys. He had a couple times where it's he kind of shakes a guy and he's going to, and then it just they kind of swarmed around and got him as well too. So again, great sort of gang tackling by the Patriots as well. Booty ended up being the receiver for the Patriots, Kashawn Booty, who we all kind of thought about or forgot about because they did bring in Diggs in the offseason as well. And the running game looked like it was going to be the strength of the team. But, of course, going back to the high school stuff and the pre-draft processes, he's been the high-rated guy, fell off for some certain reasons, has had even flash moments in the NFL as well, too. And now that we have a quarterback, you have Diggs and Booty, chat, whoa! You might actually have some weapons on that team. But this was a good game, a fun one to keep an eye on to see where these teams would be headed for the season going forward. But big win for the Raiders going for the playoff matchup because they might need this as a tiebreaker later in the year as well too. And Geno is again just going to be week to week very, I think, consistent, competent-ish as well. But he's known to start a season good. Speaking of the the reverse Sean Payton, he's known to have a good start, and maybe the last 6 or 7 weeks not as great, but maybe some of the Raiders talent around him will help him out there a little bit differently as well. So chat, week 1 we've got the Sunday night game in the line here as the last game of the day. Yeah, Broncos-Titans goes final, and the Monday night game as well, too, to close out the week. So we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back to wrap up the show, we do have, I guess, put a nice little bow on the weekend of football and whatever else, chat. So don't go anywhere. We got the end of the show right after this. Okay, chat, we are back, and quickly, not much to mention on the college football season or college football week because, well, Michigan unfortunately had what ended up being a tough week. Speaking of tough spots, chat, pause. That was a little bit of a difficult spot for our guy Bryce Underwood to be put into second game of his entire career in Norman, Oklahoma. There could be a team that trends more upward this season. Starting kind of on the outside of the playoff race, but with their kind of Heisman expectations at quarterback. We'll just scroll past the Ohio State score there and not look at it, not worry about that. Grambling State, that's what it is, right? But, again, there was a early point in the game where Bryce Underwood was making some good passes, and I was with Billy Buckets. And I was like, hey, we got a guy, chat. Like, this guy's gonna be pretty good. Here's a guy, chat, making plays. We're all right. Number one quarterback in the class, and then he was like 3 completions for the rest of the game. It was kind of brutal, but. Again, we'll see how he trends after having a good experience. The Arch Manning is a little bit different. I guess, obviously, the expectations are different, but it wasn't necessarily his second start or first start of his entire career versus Ohio State. I think I definitely would have been some, okay, we need to give this guy a break. If he was a true freshman and that was the first game he ever played against the defending national champions, Ohio State, and Mash Patricia, the defensive coordinator, it would have been like, yeah, we're good. We got 3 more years for Arch Manning. It's okay. We will be patient and let him develop into the quarterback. So, Bryce Underwood, of course, does have that benefit of the timeline in his in his favor. But just for the week in general, because again, as we were sitting around with friends chatting about some of these games, we were like looking at the scores of the game, and I guess we will mention, of course, the team from up north, chat. They did win 70-0 over Grambling, unfortunately. Shout out Grambling, but just not keeping up on the football score there. Oregon over Oklahoma State, 69-3. You had, we're even leaving out some ones here with Miami over Bethune-Cookman, 45-3, and you got Illinois over Duke, 45-19. But specifically, like the really high scoring performances, again, Oregon 69-3. Florida State, Texas over East Texas A&M, 77-3, and they jump up to 14 in the ranking. I didn't even notice their ranking as well too. They're over Michigan before the week even. I guess they had better wins as well too, and kind of proved it. But Baylor SMU in a crazy game. Michigan State and Boston College ended up in a crazy game as well too. Alabama over University UL Monroe, 73-0. Tennessee over East Tennessee State, 72-17. Indiana over Kennesaw State, 56. Texas Tech was 62. Utah was 63. So I went through and looked, and I was thinking, what are the weeks with like the most teams scoring at least 65 or more points in college football? Again, at least for modern times, that does feel like quite a bit. And we could have even sorted, I guess, 60 maybe, even 45. I don't know. We start going, maybe there are other weeks where maybe there's more teams in like the 45 to 50 range than there are in the overall like big 60 win range. And chat, do you hear the red zone music just going crazy in the back? It just got like really triumphant there for a second, and I almost got distracted. I was like, wait a second, what seat are we in? So wait, let's turn this red zone. We just got the random red zone promo music going on in the background. Shout out to Scott Hansen. His day is done. Excellent start to the season. Week 1 of coverage. Commercial breaks, not too bad right now. Don't let it get out of control, Scott Hansen. Hey, take a stand. I guess, I don't know if, unfortunately, Scott Hansen's about as valuable to any, I think, entity as any guy to a media property. But we just know at this point, ESPN or whatever would be so ruthless. If, Scott Hansen would make a stand, then it'd just be like, okay, well, I guess Red Zone's going to have a new host. It is what it is. But, hopefully there's a willingness to listen to him there as the host as well too. But yeah, teams to score at least 65 or more points in a game. Like how many teams in a week, if that makes sense, have scored that many points. So here, let me see. I went through and looked, and I looked for, of course, this week as well too. I guess, oh, chat, we're just going to have to go back and just do the live research at this point. Of course, I thought I screenshotted everything and had it all laid out perfectly. But I still have the numbers pulled up here, so this will work anyways as well too. But yeah, this week, if the research is up to date here, we'll hit it with the refresh one more time just to make sure it's catching all the performances as well. And I don't think we have it as like a top 25 teams only. So this is, of course, all of college football teams, FBS, Division I, whatever. But yeah, 65 or more points for a team. And it says it's showing results from 1869 to 2025. I don't know if we had college football in 1869. Hey, yo, I did scroll through all this earlier again. And I think it goes back to like maybe 1890 something. 1890 something is crazy anyways. But, not quite 69 is wild. I mean, that's right in a range that, college football would have been real weird right around then. But this week anyways, we had 9 teams score at least 65 or more points. And a couple of them, again, 77, 75 plus with, what was it the most? Yeah, Florida State at 77. So Florida State might be, a top 5 team in the country at this point. And again, Castellanos, is Castellanos not a NFL or at least going to be one of the hyped up guys? If he's not a draft guy, let's see where he's at in rankings. But he's been really impressive. He's been making plays, elevating his team. University of Florida to Boston College to Florida State. You know what, chat? We had said in the offseason that we had seen highlights of a Boston College quarterback running around making plays. And I do wonder if it now... Is it Lonerman that we saw, the guy that is there now? Here, let me double check if that's even... Is it Lonerman or Longerman? Longer Beam. Shout out Roger Longer Beam. I don't think it's that. Loner... Yeah, Dylan Lonergan, I guess. Dylan Lonergan. Son of Dan Lonergan? Is that a quarterback as well, too? Oh, quarterback Penn State. Look at that. Hey, yo, shout out 11 games. National champion at 82. I guess, on the team at that point. But 83, 11 games. I guess 205 yards and a touchdown. Played when needed, chat. Stepped up. Shout out. His son is definitely balling out here. Let's go see what his stats were real quick. Just to get extra sidetrack through 2 games. Ooh, he's also Alabama. I didn't realize that. So, maybe a high recruit there at some point. Leads the country in, or at least leads the conference in completions and touchdowns, but not attempts. So again, efficient. 75% completion early in the season is crazy. 8 touchdowns, 0 picks. So we probably just jinxed him to have bad performances from here on out. I don't know. Michigan State, good team, but they were able to, good name team to play against early on. I don't know if they're necessarily like a great team this year or if the defense itself is super competitive. But again, he looked kind of accurate and kind of nice. So I don't know what we have for measurements here. He may be, I don't know, is he 6'1", 6'2"? We'll have to see. Castellanos might have been the guy, though, from the highlights that we saw. But they're kind of similar running around as well. Castellanos, 389, 3 touchdowns through the first couple of games as well. But, at least in college football, there's some of the more dynamic playmakers. So we'll have to see if that would be a hype that would continue in a more, for the professionals as well, too. But yeah, 9 teams this week with at least 65 or more points. So I guess we could scroll through here and see. 2024, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I guess only 4 teams there with 65 or more points. Here, I guess now that I've got 9, showed you guys the 9 for this week, I can see what I screenshotted here. Maybe I just looked it up in the wrong order when I clicked on it. Okay, that's from not recently. So let me see this one here. Is 2024. Okay, so I guess week 1 last week, where you've got some of those matchups as well too. We did have 6 teams of 70 or 65 or more points. Auburn over Alabama A&M, Ole Miss over Furman, Tennessee over Chattanooga, Washington State over Portland State, Arkansas over Arkansas Pine Bluff, in Central Michigan over Central Connecticut State. Hey, yo, shout out. But week 1, 2024. And then I guess you got to go back to week 2015 if I'm already doubting my own research. But week 1 of 2015, you've got Cal over Grambling. Hey, yo, shout out Grambling again. Colorado over Savannah State. Middle Tennessee over Jackson State, pre-Dion. Ole Miss over UT Martin. New Mexico over Mississippi Valley. Maybe that's a state, I'm not sure. But Mississippi Valley State. I mean, not Mississippi Valley. Mississippi's obviously the state. I mean, is Mississippi Valley State the name of the school? Or, Georgia Tech over Alcorn. So you do have 6 there as well, too. That's 2015. Then you go 2013. Florida State over Idaho, 80-14. Fresno over New Mexico. Georgia Tech over Alabama A&M. North Carolina over Old Dominion. Is that what we're thinking? Shout out Tate Frazier. South Carolina over Coastal Carolina. Washington over Oregon State. And Colorado State over New Mexico. So we've got 3 from recently. And then you got to go back to 43? Is that right in the research? And then from 43 to 32? 32 to 30, and then 32. Do we drop into the teens at this point? Let's see. 30 to 20. Chad. 1920. Yeah, that's right. So 2024, 2015, 2013, and 20 whatever. Did we miss one there? And then 2043 was the next one. If I screenshotted everything right, or maybe I just left out a couple screenshots there. I was like, I'll go and scroll back through these later. Or we just got a little bit more, strict with the amount of teams we were picking as well, too. We were just like, okay, 6 teams is no longer enough to be worth it. But, yeah, I guess those are at least the most recent ones as well, too. So, again, kind of like you would expect, of course. Earlier weeks, big differences in sort of the talent from the opponents. But especially now as well, when we're like, oh, is college football more even than ever? And maybe that's top end Power 5. Is it getting more even there? But still, the overall offense production was really crazy. And I don't think there was a week with more than 9. Like, even going back to the 1913s, there wasn't like a week with 10, I don't think. Here, wait, what was this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so this is 1913. Alabama over Brigham, 81-0. Georgia over Alabama Presbyterian, 108-100. We got Mississippi State over Samford, 66-0. Missouri over Drury, 69-0. Notre Dame over Ohio Northern, 87-0. Oklahoma over Central Oklahoma, 83-0. Princeton over Fordham, 69-0. And Tennessee over Tennessee Wesleyan, 95-0. So that one is clearly like more higher scoring overall. All of these pitched shutouts, which I didn't realize right away, but was the rules different back then? That's crazy. So wait, we have to do the math real quick. I guess I should probably be able to just add this up off the top, but I guess we can't. So we got 81, 108, 66, 69, 87, 83, 69 again in 95. And again, we don't have to worry about the other team's points. So in this week in 1913, the winning teams outscored the losing teams 658-0. Chat. That is crazy. I don't know if that's the biggest discrepancy in that type of situation in a single week. But college football was unhinged back then, of course. I mean, here's another. I guess I'm just looking at these right now. We could switch. I guess we don't have slideshow technologies to put them on here. I guess I should just switch this background so you guys aren't like, wait a second, what you're looking at is not right. But this week from here, let me get the image back up. Oh, geez. I've opened up so many now. I don't even know where the right one's at. Dartmouth over Northwich. This is 1914. 74-0. Iowa over UNI. 95-0. Oh, chat. Gronowski was not the quarterback then. Michigan over Case. 69-0. North Carolina over Virginia Medical. 65-0. Oklahoma over Kingfisher. 67-0. Oklahoma State over Phillips. 134-0. Whoa. Syracuse over Hamilton, 81-0. Washington and Jefferson over Dickinson, 105-0. And Washington and Lee over Morris Harvey, 103-0. So yeah, another all shutout week. And this one's definitely more because you have 3 teams of over 100 this week. You have a 134, a 105, and a 103 is wild. And then an 81, that's the Kobe. Oh, wait a second. 103. Did the math wrong there on the computer. 81, 67, 65, 69, 95, and then 74. Gets you to 793. 793 to nothing. And that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Is that also 10? Wait a second. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, wait a second. That is just 9. I'm crazy, chat. I think I'm counting too fast. I don't trust myself again. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to whisper it so I pretend. Like if you guys can't hear me counting, then that's obviously me not counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, it's definitely 9. Just want to make sure we're getting the stats right there. It is what it is. Do we have any other old dates as well too? This one is not even a lot of teams. It's just a stretch. It's not even, I guess, the same teams. It's just, or same week. But in 43, we've got Marchfield over Pomoa Ordnance Base, Richmond over the Norfolk Marines, and Indiana over Fort Knox. All of those teams won 70-0. Actually, the Norfolk Marines put up 77 points on Richmond. So I don't know if Hegsmith was also... No, I don't think he was in charge of the military of the 40s, because I think, maybe on foot... There's a reason maybe in the 40s, Fort Knox and the Norfolk Marines were a little weak on the football field. It is what it is. But now, I think that's where we're blaming the scores for. It is what it is, not just on the field. But Pomoa Ordnance Base, I don't even know, is that even active anymore? Who knows? What's an ordnance base? Fort Knox, we understand, but Pomoa Ordnance Base, is that just like a prison? Some prison team chat called an ordnance base? I don't even know. But Marchfield as well could be that could be like a prison versus, that could be like a wardens versus inmates game in 43. Who knows? Definitely the early turn of the century games could be some of those in there, but maybe not college as well. I don't know if those stats would be on Pro Football Reference or not. But Transylvania used to have a football team. Swanee over Transylvania, 76-0. Penn State over St. Bonaventure, 99-0. Mississippi State over Mississippi Colonial, 68-0. It just says COL. Michigan over Mount Union, 69-0. Michigan just loves winning 69-0. It is what it is. Texas A&M over Dallas, 98-0. And then Washington and Lee over Randolph-Macon. Randolph-Macon just might be a movie character, not even a college. Who knows? But yeah, that was a crazy stat of the day from college football from the REMINGTOM pod. Hey, yo. The most ever teams in a week with 65 or more points. That's the stat we're going with, at least from a notable teams type of way. From the quick research of the REMINGTOM pod. It is what it is. But yes, chat, that is, of course, week 1 for the NFL season. Sunday Night Football is underway. About to be underway with Bills versus Ravens. And then Monday night is Vikings versus Bears, which is going to be fun to watch as well. And I didn't expect, again, the Colts not only to be as good as they were, but to be the one team of the friend group teams that are the winning teams. I guess the Broncos did get a win. There are some Broncos fans, of course, in the mix. But I guess we're just writing off the Bears as a loss as well, too. Unfortunately, shout out the champ. We'll have to hear from him in a couple days after he shakes off this Lions loss as well. Maybe he has to recalibrate the season. I don't know, chat. We'll have to see. Should we do a quick? Let me see, chat. Should we do a quick bet check, real fast? I feel like we kind of cleaned up. Maybe we jinxed the Lions low key, because there is one that I did really like that I just know right now it didn't hit because the Lions had 13. They had both teams to score a touchdown and a field goal in each half at 14-1. So it's like, 10-10 each half is pretty reasonable. I feel like that could definitely happen, obviously, if we're betting it. I mean, obviously, we only bet the things that obviously we think can happen, right? We wouldn't bet something that we wouldn't think would be unreasonable. Wait, chat, where's my bets at now? They used to, of course, just have a tab, but now with the updates, did they change it? Or am I just not paying attention? Transaction history? I don't think it's that. I feel like that's me, like, spending money. Wait a second, I'm logged in. Okay, what's going on here, chat? Hey, yo, show me my results. Did I do too well? I think we did too well. I mean, that was definitely the highest odds. We had a couple other parlays in there that seemed interesting. I guess I feel like I remember what they were. I remember the legs we were checking at some point. Ayo, put. But I don't remember what we actually ended up committing for toward the actual ones. Activity statement? Is that what it's going to be? It's not just under scores? My scores? Is that what it is? Live entries? Oh, wait a second. Wait a second, chat. How do I... History? No recent entries? Chat. This is crazy. How come my account shows... I mean, at least show me that I lost. Just want to see that I lost. Oh, well, chat. We'll find these later. I know generally what it was. And I guess we can check the final stats of these games anyways. And that will be part of it as well. So, again, Goff did have the pick. They were moving the ball down the field. So, maybe if they smooth some things out, they'll look better. And that could be 31 for 39. Looks good on paper. Maybe they'll be better over the course of the season, of course. And the Packers defense, the athleticism, playmaking there, of course, now increased with Parsons. Definitely could have proved itself over the course of today's game. Dobbs just with the 2 as well. So I guess ultimately, us looking at the +4 didn't really work out there. Jacobs 19 for 66 and a touchdown. Yeah, Gibbs only 9 of 19. Montgomery 11 for 25 as well. 10 receptions, though. Still only 31 yards. I guess 10 fantasy points on receptions is really going to be clutch for first-round pick. And, is he going to be like an 80-plus reception receiver guy? What's the record, Chad? Is he in line for the record? And then Tesla with the touchdown in the mix there. And Golden, 2 for 16. I mean, he's probably going to, again, have to find his way a little bit. But, yeah, our touchdown field. Wait a second. Did we get this one? Oh, because the Lions didn't score a touchdown in the first half. Oh, chat. We were close. But that's a good one to keep in mind because 14-1, if it's going to be in that 14 to 15-1 range, that's pretty spicy. And I know that, again, you only need one of the things not to happen. That's the whole point of those type of... It's not a parlay, but it is a parlay. It's, a special that's basically disguised as a parlay because you're parlaying the field goals and the touchdowns together. But, yeah, you're a good game enough like this, and you still are missing a score from the Lions to keep it out. But that is a close enough one where I think we might double back on that as well. And at 15-1, I guess we have 15 games, Chad. We get one game a week where we can bet that. And if we hit it at one point, at least we can go even for the season on that bet. Or, at least we can go up at some point as well, too. Or that one maybe with the high. If it's like, here, let me look real quick on FanDuel. Chad, we got to make some money back for, here, I guess we should have done this during the break. But let me quickly, real quick, log in. Try not to unveil any account information. I mean, if you guys want to log in and play some bets, please do, because I probably need you to win for me. But also, if you log in and take the money, I mean, you're gonna really be disappointed as well too. So I guess I'm gonna get the log in to see. But also, if I log in, is it gonna show me my bet slip and show me if I won? It is what it is. Am I having a problem with location on the phone? I'm on the Wi-Fi right now. Do I need to just go mobile? It is what it is. Okay, hopefully I'm still out. Screen's still off. It is what it is. Okay, chat, if you're just jumping on, we're logging into the FanDuel right now. Sorry for the muted background. It is what it is. For some reason, it's wanting me to do a suggested password, but make no mistake. We're cooking up crazy enough passwords over here that we don't need Google's help. It is what it is. Oh, code, chat. Authentication code. Yeah, we have to remember, this is going to be the newest sticky note pause for the pod. Log in beforehand and just get this one out of the way. Because these are the ones, of course, that have all the double security and stuff like that. I don't know if we need to create like a fake identity and start a second account for the pod, but we might have to look into cooking up that as well too, chat. We're unfortunately down to $6, chat. We're down from 8 to 6. Oh man, that Lions 14-1 really, that first half, second half loss really cleaned us out. Are we gonna have to get this pause plugin for location stuff? Oh, location verified. We're good to go. Okay, wait a second. So bet slip, my bets. Yes, chat. Here we go. Let's see. Settled. How close were we? Oh, yeah, we did jinx the Texans a lot. And we talked about liking the Rams defense. I don't know why we would go all in on the Texans offense. I wasn't even really thinking the Texans offense was going to score like 25. Like, obviously Stroud's going to get like 3 touchdowns, so 2's like, or 4 or 5, so 2's like a little like, let's just get a part of that. I was thinking like maybe they just get to 14-17, but it's like, okay, with the way they're kind of structured, it might have to be Stroud throwing and Nico Collins, of course, as a main weapon guy. And I guess we were kind of liking the Texans as a upset pick. So just kind of go in, just kind of feel out our parlay skills early on. Fortunately, we know that it's way off there. So it is what it is. But yes, chat, this is, of course, the one that we were talking about that we thought was going to hit. And this one at plus 700 was interesting. I didn't see Cam Ward's numbers, so I don't know if he got there. Cam Ward was in this one, and I forget who else. We'll have to see. Maybe nobody for Sunday night. Oh, I think maybe Gibbs was in this one as well. Did we take Gibbs out? Okay, this was a good one as well, too. I'll show you show you what it was, because I think it was, I believe in them all, chat, before we place them. It is what it is. Again, this Lions one is, I think, we'll run it back next time they play. But Cam Ward plus 200 yards, which I guess he didn't get to, of course, today. But, it's still, with garbage time, 200 yards is not a ton. So you feel like he can kind of stumble there. And then Kenneth Walker to lead the game in rush yards. You got McCaffrey off of the injury versus a Niners defense that still may have some question marks. You're not even necessarily betting a total. It's just of all the running backs. Kenneth Walker is going to have the most out of that game. And then Hutch to record a sack. Just those 3 things. Those simple 3 things, chat, that's all. Plus 733 is easy money. So Cam Ward only got to 112. Kenneth Walker wasn't even close, and Aiden Hutchinson didn't get a sack. So, again, we're 0 for 3 to start the year, chat. Hot start for 2025. But, we're trying to also show responsible gambling as well here, too. I was trying to figure out what amount to put down. So we put down a quarter on this game for this parlay for the Texans. And then I was like, no, that's crazy, chat. We can just go with I think we can go with $1 and just round up and be okay. So these ones are, these are full-on bets. Pause. Ayo. With $1. Well, so, we'll tune back in next, maybe Sunday, Monday, we'll see what's going on there. But, yeah, that's what so I guess, is it smart to cook up, but like to show you what we cook up after? Because I was thinking, we'll cook these up and I'll show you what we cooked up. And then I was like, no, we can't jinx them because I really believe in this Lions one. I'm like, this is going to pay rent for us, chat. Ayo, it is what it is. Or bet the house on it. But, unfortunately, again, the Packers defense showed up, especially a little bit more in that first half there. So, and I guess, the Lions only got that one-handed touchdown. So that barely would have, if we had gotten one more crazy lob play up, maybe later in the game. But, yeah, so at least maybe if you know where we're looking at after this, we can kind of be like, okay, this can kind of help for week 2. So that's definitely one we'll be looking at again for week 2 as well. And this one as well, most rushing yards or most receiving yards in a game, like leading the game in that, might be something that I start thinking about for parlays as well, too, because I start thinking, oh, this guy's going to have a really good game, and I want to, like, bet what the yardage total is going to be, and then I get too aggressive, and he doesn't quite get there, but still has a really good game. So it could be like CeeDee Lamb has just the most receiving yards in the game. Instead of betting him up the alt 100, he can still have 80 some yards and be the best performance. And then of course you could open yourself up to the other guy on the other team, or Pickens or somebody has a couple of crazy plays and now they're leading. But that feels a little bit safer, situation to situation if you look at it, compared to maybe like a total yardage point as well. And it doesn't say how many yards he got as well, because I guess it wasn't a number that was the concern. But, well, an exact number that was the concern. But let's see here real quick what he got as well. Wait, where'd that game go, chat? 49ers versus Seahawks. Yeah, here we go. 17-13, the final. Of course. Oh, we'll get to the box score eventually, chat. We never click on the right one. It is what it is. 69 for McCaffrey again. Walker with only 20. So, we're just straight up the FanDuel jinx, chat. You can see it's real. Charbonnet, 47. Keep that in mind. Purdy, 277. Sam Darnold at 150. Not going crazy on the stats, but the sack ones as well too. I knew we should have bet the Benito one, chat. That one stings. That one stings. Those were the Benito, Parsons, and Hutchinson were the 3 we were looking at. And we can run back the Hutchinson one as well too, but minus 122, that's not like a lucrative one to throw in. So maybe that's just a parlay one. And then, again, it's not like Aiden Hutchinson was the one thing that hurt us there. But we'll keep an eye on the Cam Ward passing numbers. I guess, again, as a rookie, we maybe lock him in for great stats year 1. But he's going to have good performances, and maybe there's going to be good value to have there as you kind of wait for those breakout games to happen. If you bet enough of the bad games, you'll eventually stumble onto betting his breakout game. It is what it is, chat. No, of course, in classic Rem fashion, a third person there, chat. Hey, yo, I forgot to unmute the screen. It is what it is. Probably for the best, not showing off all the stuff. I think I said all the information. I said the account number, right? So, it's all right there. I also did. Are there account numbers live here, chat? Hey, yo, it is what it is. No, I think just balances and stuff. I mean, we don't care, chat. Are we heavy gamblers over here? You can see the less than $10 in our account. If anything, it shows you can have fun and still be responsible. It is what it is. Just the rush of hitting, just the rush of missing a parlay and getting mad at now Aiden Hutchinson for not getting a sack. Of course, just a beloved player for us, chat, with his Michigan tenure and the way he's lived up to expectations in the NFL. And now that we're throwing it in parlays, we're going to get mad at him. We may have to not do that anymore. We don't want to have that relationship with Aiden Hutchinson. So Benito, if we have to have sort of a Benito let our parlays down relationship with Benito, maybe that's more okay. We'll have to see there. But either way, chat, Sunday Night Football quickly approaches us. We will go watch that game. Have fun with your Sunday night, your Monday night. We will be back, of course, on the Tuesday night live stream, reacting to those games, having a good time. We don't have a basketball Tuesday night situation for, a little bit, so we've still got some other stuff in the works as well as we work our way toward that part of the sports season. But football's back, chat. The weekends are much more exciting now, of course, from a sports standpoint, that we have the NFL back in the mix. Week 1 would not disappoint as well. And, our primetime games are just stacked as well, too, for these weeks. So this is going to be, hopefully, one of the best games of the week with Ravens-Bills to look at. And I guess we could just look at, do we just cook up a parlay here real quick, chat? I guess since it's not as much of the amounts on as many bets for Sunday night, we'll just cook up like one parlay. We're not risking the whole account on the potential win of this. So are the Ravens, I kind of want to take the Ravens. I just start looking at plus and I'm just like, okay, I'm putting that in, pause. Okay, wait, we've got the Bills plus 106 at home, chat. Josh Allen season opener. He's got Haley Steinfeld, newlywed. Her performance in Sinners is going to be the bar for his performance this year, according to Kyle Brandt. Hey, yo. So we've got the Bills, home underdog. Plus 105, though, on the money line. Not like crazy, but okay, that's might be an automatic, chat. Touchdown score. I feel like the Josh Allen touchdown at minus 105 is not too bad either. That feels like a little bit of a, I don't want to say meaningless leg to throw into a parlay, but it would feel like a kind of a decent one to hit as well too. First touchdown plus 650 is not bad. This one, I'm a little less confident in the game special that we just talked about, maybe because we just lost it. I don't know. Do we run it back in the same game? 11-1. Maybe we do, chat. I don't know. Each team to score one touchdown and one field goal in each half. So that's not even each. It's 10 points a half. Is it gonna be 20 to 20? 20 to 20 for this type of game, but spaced out in that type of way. There is some of the quarter half stuff that you can't quite throw in the parlays, which is a little bit unfortunate. But let's see from a defensive standpoint. Is there anybody we want to throw in here real quick? Oh, you can't parlay the interception. Okay, it's a good thing I didn't even try to put any of those in the parlays then, because it wouldn't have worked. But you do get good odds. So Jair 6-1, Humphrey 7-1. I mean, it's not like Allen's a walk-in interception these days, but still not crazy odds not bad odds for a good secondary. Rousseau plus 134. I mean, Allen, I guess, is like the most, pause unsackable quarterback in the league. So that's probably not going to happen. Same with Lamar. So maybe not this game, chat. Maybe not this game. Maybe we are thinking probably there. Again, there is the running factor where they could just like get tackled behind the line of scrimmage, but I don't know what they would credit as a sack at that point versus like a run for a loss, tackle for the loss. They would screw us over at least in a betting standpoint. You would know that. The receiving might be where you find the value now because early on we're still waiting to see who could emerge. Keon Coleman over under 37.5. Now, again, the Ravens secondary is really good, so I don't know if we want to start betting on the Bills receivers this early on. If we go, Ravens receivers, maybe a little more improvement, Zay Flowers, but Bills secondary is good as well too. I feel like this could be an exciting game because it's early in the season, but from a betting standpoint, it's definitely safer to go a little low scoring. So not necessarily betting unders, but we might not be able to bet like crazy stats in the same type of way. Keon Coleman alt yardage plus 25 receiving yards is minus 235. Okay. So maybe if we just go with a crazier kind of safe parlay, I don't know if that works at all, but it feels like he's going to have to get some looks. So wait a second. Shakir at plus 25 yards is minus 460. So I know Coleman's a little bit of a, vertical threat, but let's just put that in the parlay for now just to see. And do we go back to the Josh Allen touchdown just because? I mean, he's going to get one, right, chat? Lamar's going to get a touchdown maybe. So if Lamar's plus odds, the temptation's too great, chat. Plus 190. Lamar touchdown. I don't know. Let's check the rushing touchdowns from last year. I know the yards, of course. He's still dynamic, and he had his highest passing total last year as well too. But from an end zone standpoint, rushing, he had 4 rushing touchdowns, 915 yards still. So he's going to definitely get those. But maybe once every couple of weeks or so gets in the end zone. So maybe this first week would be a good way to start it off, of course. But he might be an they're definitely caught up to the rushing for Lamar. There's no way, chat. And Bills defense is a little bit of a risk as well too. Over under 46 for Lamar. Ooh, I was going to maybe say, do we get like an alt 25-ish for Lamar as well too? But alt 30 plus 390. Alt 40 minus 182. Or sorry, plus 30 minus 390. Plus 40 minus 182. A little dramatic there. Plus 104 plus 50. Of course, starts to get a little bit more tempting. Josh Allen is minus 220 for plus 25. Minus 136 plus 30 is not bad as well. Derrick Henry first quarter rushing yards over under 19.5. We're really starting to go down the alt stuff. Here we go. Alt first quarter rush yards for Derrick Henry. 25 sets the tone early, or he goes and has a tear late in the game as well too. Can we get like fourth quarter alt rush yards for Derrick Henry? Is that an option? No, they just have first quarter as an option. So we might have to live bet that one, chat. We might be live betting Derrick Henry's fourth quarter over under if that's a eligible option. Second half though, maybe? Let's see. Second half touchdown score is interesting. Derrick Henry plus 155. Josh Allen plus 230. Second half touchdown. First touchdown is a little bit too specific. Okay, those aren't parlays. Second half spread, second half total. Pause. Let's see. Josh Allen first half touchdown. Are there going to be crazy odds on the way, which half he scores? We'll have to see. Plus 220. So it is the same, but you expect clutch player. Maybe it's the first half. Or obviously an early drive. Do we get risky and go Josh Allen first half touchdown, chat? I mean, screw it. The problem is I'm going to just get a big swinging parlay in here and be like, oh yeah, it's just for the pot. And really it's like, okay, this is actually the stuff you want to put in the bet. But regardless, if you're going to go Josh Allen touchdown, I feel like the guess of that is the way to do it. Honestly, for that one, this could be a good separate bet where you bet both those. I don't know. Again, if I'm not good at, you need to bet this these two ways to kind of cover your bases, but at plus 2-1, you're at least going to be, you've at least guaranteed an even return at that point. I don't know if that, maybe you're just neutral all the way around and you're just like, okay, you're literally at zero not even just, at 1, if that makes sense. I don't even, if 1, is 1 considered an even return from 0? Chat? See, I literally don't know nothing about money like that. But it feels like a good way to guess the Josh Allen touchdown odds. This is a long story. So, plus 220, first half touchdown. Same as James Cook, Lamar 4-1. That's definitely going to boost the parlay. 546. But I don't know, chat. For some reason, still thinking maybe. So maybe we do bet the unders first quarter. Get the teams kind of a second to get going here. I guess, chat, we're going to spend so much time deciding that it is going to run us right up to the game. So Ravens first quarter spread minus 1.5. Pause. Ravens get a field goal early on. Stop the Bills. Bills kind of get going late. That would move it to plus 720, chat. Bills first quarter spread -1.5. Keon Coleman alt 25 receiving yards and Bills money line. There we go, chat. That's the parlay. It might have to be it. We've only got a couple of minutes left. Let's see if there's any popular parlays on here that we recommend. Do they have the pre-made ones as well too? Let's see. I thought maybe there's a parlay tab over here. Here we go. Maybe there's some. Oh no, this is like the money line ones. They used to have these are popular type parlays tab going, which would always be a fun way to, panic, just pick one and see which one you want to do. So maybe that was too successful. The responsible gaming committee came in and said, actually, you can't do that. But I'm not seeing it as well too, because I guess they have what do they have, like the parlay your way thing now instead. But they just used to have the live same game trending parlays tab. And it's like, here, 4,000 people have bet this one. You might as well just be the 4,001 person to do it. And I'm like, okay, well, I guess I might as well too. So, yeah, bummer to see that go. FanDuel, bring that back. But there we go. There's the semi-convinced 3-person parlay, three-leg parlay for this Sunday Night Football game. So, shout out, chat. We'll see what happens. Monday night's going to be fun as well, too. But like I said, we'll be back Tuesday night to hang out, react, and have a good time. As always, here on the YouTube. And, of course, you can find the live streams on the podcast feed, Spotify, Apple, all those various platforms as well. So stay tuned, chat. We'll be back. Enjoy your Sunday night. And enjoy, of course, the rest of the NFL season, chat. It's going to be fun. And we're going to be live here for all of it. So we can't wait to hang out with you guys.